Hello and welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We're going to take a quick audible, as we mentioned, away from Overwatch, and we're going to go to League of Legends. However, you're not going to be seeing any Boise State players here tonight because the Broncos are safe and secure waiting for their opponent in the Mountain West Fall League of Legends Invitational Grand Finals. Who's their opponent going to be? Well, we're about to find out. It is the second chance bracket finals between Nevada and Colorado State. Both these teams put in the second chance bracket at the hands of Boise State, and also a rematch of last semester's Mountain West Championships in Vegas, which the Wolfpack took handily 3-0 over Colorado State. So a revenge story all the way around. As we mentioned, one of these teams going to get a shot this Saturday to take down Boise State and be the winner of the Mountain West Fall Invitational. But there's so much more on the line. But that's enough of me talking. Let's bring in Adam Chizu McGuire to help call all of the action here as we are set to kick things off here between the Rams and the Wolfpack. Because not only are they playing for a spot at Boise State in the Grand Finals, this is also a multi-conference invitational with the top two teams from each conference advancing to the invitational portion. And of course, these teams are playing for that invite, as Colorado State and Nevada will go at it, as Boise State has already secured their spot not only in the next round of the Invitational, they've secured it. There's Chizu McGuire trying to channel his energy.
They sold me out. I was telling production I love them. Thank you so much. We're having a little audio issue. I was giving them kisses and hugs, and they sold me out.
Hey, man, I'm just glad you're here for not Boise State action, which means, you know, you're not going to be ripping your hair out if anything goes wrong, because less investment with the teams that are here. We're kind of scouting to see who Boise State's going to play and to see who else is going to go on with Boise State to the next round of this Invitational.
Absolutely, and yeah, like you said, no, it doesn't necessarily mean I won't pull my hair out. Actually, this gives me even more agency to say things that, no, other than that, I really do love both of these teams. UNR has put Boise State in a body bag multiple times, so I'm not looking, you know, I don't have to worry about that this time around. And as far as CSU is concerned, probably like my favorite little brother team, if you will. I mean, CSU made it to the finals in Mountain West, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a little bit of a hello, how are you? But it's been a good season so far. Let's continue the momentum.
So you see there was the breakdown, 5v5, best of 3, double elimination. The finals are on the 24th, which is where Boise State is currently waiting. The Broncos, as the #1 seed, is picked by the Mountain West, got past UNLV, Colorado State, and Nevada in that order, sending them all down to that second chance bracket where the Rams have battled back for the privilege to fight Nevada. One, get some revenge potentially on the Wolfpack for that beatdown they got handed in Vegas for last semester's championship, and two, to get a shot back at Boise State and potentially put the Broncos into that second place of the Mountain West. Now, either of these teams got their work cut out for them because they've got to beat Boise State twice on Saturday, thanks to the double elimination bracket, protecting the Broncos there in their undefeated record. But right now, one of these teams is going home. One of them gets a spot against Boise State and gets to keep playing in the rest of the Invitational, as conferences from around the country have been having their own tournaments and the top two teams advance. So there's a lot on the line, and almost more on the line tonight than there will be Saturday, because Saturday is just for bragging rights. One of these teams gets to keep playing. The other one's got to go to scrims, as we see how the teams got there. Colorado State sent down by the Broncos. You see there they took down Hawaii. They 2-0'd UNLV, which I know a lot of people were potentially expecting a UNLV-Nevada matchup here, and they've earned the right to play the Wolfpack, who were losers in the winners finals against Boise State last Saturday. So it's going to be a great match. There we see Boise State. They are sitting nice and comfy. UNLV, Colorado State, and Nevada couldn't even take a game off of them. So we'll see if the Rams or the Wolfpack can get some revenge.
Yo, I just want to throw this out there that Nevada has one of the strongest League of Legends rosters. I still have nightmares about both UNLV and UNR, depending on where I'm at in the United States at this point. So to see that 3-0 over San Jose State, former champions of the Mountain West, that's huge. That's massive. That's a G2 upset kind of situation, if I am not mistaken, to make it that far and just get smacked in your mouth like that. So again, just do not ever hear the word Nevada League of Legends, just immediately start panicking. That's how you're supposed to go about it. But again, the fact that CSU has worked their way up here, I'm not shocked either. And so that's just this is going to be an explosive powder keg of a game.
Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of a differences between these teams from when they last met in the spring semester. Nevada without their bot lane, who was very, very pivotal. You could see how Boise State was able to exploit it, and then Nevada without, I believe, their jungler and their bot laner of their own, as we kick things off in the pick ban phase. And it's going to be Colorado State kicking things off with the Yone ban, which I know something is Boise State targeted down against Nevada.
Yone is gone here at this point. Not going to be here in game number 1, as we do see the Misfortune going to be removed, followed up by a Vladimir. Not super afraid of an MF as of recent. That might be a pocket pick situation and or just get it out of the way. As far as Leona is concerned, I'm going to go cry in a corner. Fish, you are on your own from here on out.
Yeah, I think we saw Stunting pull that out against Boise State. There's the Graves band, who's been a very powerful jungler on the world scene, and Lilia, something very, very strong as well. I would think Obvi, the Nevada jungler, is probably going to pull out the Nidalee that he's been very, very fond of so far in this tournament, but the Rams going to first pick that Lucian, with half they're going to be putting that out on Frankie G in the mid lane.
Yeah, and that's one of those situations where back in the day of early League of Legends, Lucian actually went into the bot lane. Not that he's still capable of doing that, but just his mid lane prowess, the amount of damage he puts out early, middle, late, doesn't matter. It's super rad. So not a crazy pick there. Gonna find the Jhin on the other side. And we've all fallen in love with that champion in the last handful of weeks, if not from Worlds alone. And now we're gonna see that Nidalee that you were talking about, Fish.
Yeah, Obvi's played it multiple times. Didn't play it against Boise State, and unfortunately, it was the first time Nevada lost, so maybe they're going to try to bring some back. But there's the big one. That's hopefully a Samira and a Kane being picked up by Colorado State. First time I think we've seen Samira picked up, at least from the games we've seen this tournament.
Listen, Samira is one of those devil-may-care characters for a reason. The fact that she can jump on in and just... combined with a Lucian is very interesting, too, because the amount of raw damage that these two individuals alone can put out is kind of absurd at that point. But you do see CSU Falcon, the Don Falcone, as I like to call him, in the chat. Thank you so much for being with us today. As you do see Sion as the final pickup in phase number 1, as Mordekaiser and Pantheon going to be removed in ban phase number 2.
Yeah, Pantheon, an incredibly strong support. Another one of those that gets a lot of run at Worlds and then slowly seeps into the rest of NA, who seem to refuse to play him during the LCS despite his dominance in other regions. There's the Urgot ban away by Nevada, and the very last one going to be a Nocturne ban, something that Skull Chaos had played against Colorado State in the Mountain West Championships. So despite the fact that he has not been around for a while, that is apparently a nightmare the Rams are still having, as Set going to be the pickup there for Nevada.
Well, you just take a look at the overall now. You got the Sion, you've got the Set, you've got some really hard engages. And what is a bigger, giant red go button than Nocturne ulting on in? And sure, you've got the range advantage here with the Jhin and the Nidalee, but to have that extra just go button, you might as well get rid of that in its entirety. But I do like what I'm seeing with the Set here. More than likely going to go into that. Well, actually, you know what? These days, I'm not even going to call it because he can go wherever he wants. I would love to see that setup on the bottom side, but again, strong in the jungle, strong on the top side. I just really like that champion support, so maybe a bias. But then here comes Adam's first ever Mastery champion before they had him, the swoosh, swish, swirl, and mix of Singed.
That's going to be interesting. And there's the Blitzcrank pickup for Colorado State. Woo! So it's a lot of AD damage on the Rams side that they are definitely going to have to find a way to counteract. Singed, one of those champions, again, who saw some play at Worlds. And hey, Nevada, you know what? They made the mistake against Boise State of not banning Rumble, and Ascent made them pay like nobody's business. So now I'm going to guess Skull Chaos is going to do his best to say, this is why we didn't ban Rumble. We were totally intending to pick him, because that was definitely one of the things that shocked me from when Nevada and Boise State played. Is the Wolfpack didn't ban Rumble, and potentially here's why.
You might as well, and again, he's pretty dang strong, especially if you can get farther ahead. You weren't there that night, but I got shoved into mid lane the other day, not my strongest role, and I was like, you know what, I'm pulling the Ascent, and even though I am absolute cardboard tier, I was able to make something happen. So whether or not it's a specialty champion or just in someone's capable hands, that champion is terrifying, especially when it comes to the equalizer and the way he's able to quite literally just run down and burn you to a crisp and make sure you can't get away.
Yeah, Nevada is making sure there's no Ascent Smurfs on the side of Colorado State, because I'm sure, as we mentioned, Nocturne giving nightmares to the Rams. Rumble's still probably haunting Nevada for what Ascent made them pay for in Game 2 for saying, hey, that man plays a lot of Rumble. You know what's great? Let's not ban it 2 games in a row, and I dare him to pick it. And you know what? The second game he picked it, and he absolutely dominated. But that is for Saturday. It's Colorado State, Nevada right now. And before we get into the game, we're going to toss things over to Lovely, who's going to give us his breakdown on the drafts and how they turned out and which team he's looking forward to.
Hello, everybody, and let's talk draft, of course. I think one champion to definitely highlight as far as this draft goes is Samira, brand new champion, and in my opinion, kind of a Yasuo 3.0. She's got everything you could want in a marksman. She's got mobility. She can delete projectiles from existence. Tons of damage, especially once she gets scaling up. Very powerful champion, and certainly one to keep an eye on because that damage can get going very, very quickly if she just picks up 1 or 2 kills.
Yeah, I mean, she has been very snowball. I mean, she was nerfed day 1 that she came out. Overall, Glovely, looking at the teams, is there a team between Colorado State and Nevada that you're starting to give your favoritism to and potentially a pick here for game number 1?
I don't think I have a particular edge at this point in the tournament. I do think that in terms of team building, it's good to have a bit more bulk to you, so I do like that set pickup from the Wolfpack. Just champions that can, give your team a bit more survivability, especially as the game gets longer and longer and you have more time to build up that bulk for your team. Sometimes all you need is for your Braum to be able to pick up a Sunfire Cape in order to survive a team fight.
And
absolutely.
Go ahead, Chizu.
No, I was just curious, again, as we take a look over at the Colorado side of things. I mean, you've got so much raw damage output, whether it's the Lucian or the Samira that you touched on. Do you think that damage output is enough to stop the tanky side of UNR, or is it just wishful thinking?
I think itemization is going to be very important in terms of how you handle a beefier, bulkier team. You got to pick up items like the Black Cleaver, get yourself some armor penetration, some magic pen. And as far as item options go, they do have the ability to burn through that. Rumble, I think, is a fantastic champion for burning through tankier, bulkier builds because he likes to build tank killer items very early on in his build, the Leandri's Torment, especially if he pairs that up with the Rylai's Crystal Scepter.
And to follow up on that, though, I mean, Chizu kind of highlighted it with the Lucian and Samir. That's a lot of AD on the side of Colorado State. I mean, there's Singed, which you can debate if that's an AP pick or not. So are you concerned that it's just build armor and win for Nevada?
There is always that danger when you're very AD heavy that the other team is just going to, build 3 Thorn Mails or something like that, and then you just don't do enough damage. It is possible, however, to get around that. Like I mentioned earlier, you have things like the Armor Shred from the Black Cleaver. You can build your Last Whispers. You have options for eating through these tanks. But the longer the game goes on, the harder it's going to be because they're going to have more and more armor. And you need to pick up those victories early, pressure down towers, and that is the big advantage of having a full AD comp. You do so much damage to objectives, so they need to play a very objective focus game and play to win very early.
Absolutely, man. And you mentioned, is this not one of the situations where the side of CSU can just start blasting through everything, literally and metaphorically, followed up with the melting that we were talking about? I not to throw fish under the bus, he's worried about the armor, but that's not a problem when it's all literally and metaphorically been melted, right?
I mean, certainly not. You can put down a lot of damage very consistently over time with the champions that they've picked up. It's going to be a matter of, can they survive long enough? Can they get that damage out? These aren't going to be bursty fights as the game continues on longer. Early on, they might be sort of a big impact on a target, but as the game gets later and later and later, it's going to be so much harder to get through that front line.
And then finally, Glovely will get you out on your selection. Of course, there's no bias as the Broncos aren't playing. So who you like here in game number 1, Colorado State or Nevada?
I'm going to say I kind of like Nevada's lineup.
There you go. Glovely's going to side with Nevada, and on perfect timing, Chizu and I are going to see if he is correct or not. Right now, nothing too standoffish right now from what we're taking a look at the runes there. It is going to be a set in the bot lane that you had predicted, Chizu, and nothing else too crazy nonetheless.
I have become, okay, again, you got to realize, for those of you who are new to the stream, I am a support trait at heart. Like, D&D to League of Legends, all I do is heal people and make sure they can look cool doing it. I have become a huge fan, playing more aggressive lanes, of the Dark Seal. So to see that on Singed right off the bat would not have been my first nubile opinion to pick up, but I love that item right now. Whether or not you put it into the Magi's, I don't anticipate that unless things are going super well for the Singed. It is a big piece, but if you can get any kind of leverage, if you can just sit there and let your jungler do their job, it comes out so great, and then don't be like me and just run it down 3 or 4 times and you're fine.
One thing I want to watch out for, as Glovely mentioned, is yes, Samir does have the ability to block projectiles. It's on a 20, down to maybe 18-second cooldown at rank 5. Nidalee Spear's not though.
Yo, he got the hook at 130 and puts him down 50%. Woo! That's some rude dude with attitude mentality coming out of the side of Colorado State. Mean.
DJ Kush on those hook champions. I remember it from the Mountain West semifinals. That dude is not something you want to deal with. He is insane on them.
He'll give you a cushy pillow to fall on. There's also a bunch of razor blades hidden in it, like candy from Halloween. But that said, we do see a little bit of the early game when it comes to the Singe. Just hit Q, run around, smack dudes in the face, and actually comes out ahead. Got the Conqueror going, so he'll be able to pick up those minions there. And it's just one of those things where Singe is not like the no-brain champion. Another amazing hook! He's gonna find Profit here as Stunting looks to pull them in. Meanwhile, the side of CSU pumps out so damage. Can we just get a hook counter on the side, like down, like in that area somewhere? Just like a landing. Hooks by DJ Kush, please and thank you. Yo!
Well, right now, Colorado State, hooks aside, they know that there's a Nidalee in their jungle. The pings came out, he's gonna find her.
Uh-oh! And that's going to be a simple shot. Nice flash! And that is going to be an easy first blood for the side of CSU. Don't worry, we didn't see it in Italy. It's fine. It's fine. You're good.
Good job by Avi, though, I guess, if you want to not giving the assist over to Singe, so not making endpoints lane any harder than it needs to be, because the last thing you want to give Singe more experience and allow him to proxy easy. But Rudolph, now he's found out.
Flash and a grab means the damage comes out, but it looks like it's going to be too little too late. Meanwhile, the poison is really starting to seep in here for the Singed Scion here, not having the greatest of times. Get ready for a flip, possibly? No, the Conqueror is going to proc. He is super low. Minion damage is massive. Chase the Singed with no mana. Give him the old whappo and give him endpoint. The first one was taking quite a bit of minion aggro there. Almost fell in the process. So a great move there. A scary one at that.
Singe not too worried about going down early. Another invade.
Ooh! It looks like, yeah, this Nidalee is here, and here comes the teleport as well. Kane is going to be taken out by Skull Chaos, but Singe looking for the slow and the flip and the boop, bop, shooba-da-wop is going to be coming out there from the Lucian. Frankie G finds yet another.
Nice teleport in from Bladestorm, nice flip, and the Rumble purely overheated. Any Rumble player will tell you, you're pretty much dead if you're overheated and you can't get away, but no flash, nothing you can do about it.
Basically, it's just a giant noise that's similar to Kill Bill. It goes, and you're like, oh, I can't do anything right now. And you run away and hope that you can survive, or at least that your flamethrower is the thing that you have currently overheated. But again, what an aggressive game for both of these teams. It's 4 minutes in. We've had 4 kills. These guys are unrelenting. I would give a little bit of credit to, I guess, just awareness at that point, because it kind of seems like weird spots getting caught out as we trade here on the top. The Flipperino is there, but it looks like Endpoint should be able to get out of there, but really hurting at about 200 health. Looks like we do have some more damage here on the bottom side. His Stunting is going to go all in. He's going to use Face Breaker to try to get some more ammo. Meanwhile here, towards the Baron Pit, there's nothing there yet, but it looks like the rest of CSU is angry, and they are going to start pumping out some damage. Skull Chaos taking a shot, plus the Piercing Light. Kane is there for the shot. It could be enough. Here comes that, and the flash, the double shot, the Piercing Light is going to be enough, and that is it for the mid laner. And of course, Frankie G finds his third. We told you not to feed him. You have now done the exact opposite of that. Your mid lane is going to be hurting.
So we talked about it. It was an overheat on the Electro Harpoon. I mean, maybe if it's an overheat on the Flame Spitter, he can turn it around. He had Obvi coming in, but the Electro Harpoon, you're like, oh, hey, it does a little extra damage, gets a little extra slow, and you're like, I gotta still run away. So heat management for Skull Chaos has not been on display very well here early in the game. And Colorado State, by the way, all of these plays have been in jungle invasions. No lane kills. It's somebody's invading and the other team's usually punishing him. Oh my god.
Oh, he got him there. You're standing on a ward, and that is going to be some serious damage coming out here. Samira jumping on in. Face Breaker is going to be used. That armor is disappearing quickly. Heal also going to be expended. Rudolph is in. He's got the pop locked, and can he? Yes! Ichi gonna drop it like every Saturday club night, and that is a great move there through the wall. Finds a way in. Another one for Colorado State.
Colorado State is really pushing down their advantage on Nevada, and it's all, as you mentioned, DJ Kush has been setting up kill after kill potential for his team, and right there, a huge hook onto Stunting, and it caught Nevada off guard, I think.
It absolutely did, and the jungle appearance obviously didn't help that. When you're like, we can get out of here, uses the ability to try to get some shield out, but meanwhile, it's not going to matter. The rest of the crew shows up, makes it happen. But while we're looking at Bladestorm here, doing a good job as far as the CS is concerned. Usually with a situation like this, when I'm playing that dude, I fall behind. Again, that could just be a me thing, but he's going to look for something here. He throws out this flow. He's got the damage procs down, and he's putting out as much damage as possible. Already has 1 stack on that Dark Seal, showing no signs of relenting, but his mana decides to kneecap him there. A little bit of damage coming out here from Endpoint, but Bladestorm going to burn the ultimate, going to be okay. He's going to look to just proxy this lane. Just kidding, another slow possible flip. It is in. He is looking to finish this kill, if at all possible. Here comes the shield, and Endpoint is going to be feeling miserable. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we've got a 2-on-2 DJ Kush with his patented roam. Here comes the equalizer here. Frankie G's able to put out as much damage as possible before falling there to the equalizer. Tried to find some damage with the culling, is not enough. Nevada closing the gap.
A great roam down by Avi to finish off that kill. Don't know if without the spear they find that kill. So as I was just about to say, he has been sort of quiet after that early invasion, but a nice job there. And 600 gold onto that Rumble. Probably the last thing you want. I mean, you can still see just how far ahead Frankie G is. I mean, the CS is 16 lead. He's got the BF sword and the tier as well, so he's going to try and get that man immune as quickly as possible. But still, that's going to allow Nevada to probably get back in this game.
Yeah, it is an opportunity, as I stumble over my words, for them to make up some of the ground that they have let go. Again, a 3-in-1 Lucian is going to be able to crash the smallest of the 3 lanes. Hook not going to land. That's the first one we haven't seen. But as far as that mid lane is concerned, he now has agency. He can really go wherever he wants, or he can just sit in mid lane and stack up his CS score as well as plates. Until jungle intervention is a thing, mid lane and for CSU is looking oh so divine. Go ahead and give him a dragon while you're at it. They didn't even know what was happening.
I mean, as you mentioned, yeah, Frankie G, he can just rotate wherever he wants. He goes off the dragon, hook in by stunting.
Oh, DJ Kush gonna be grabbed, but he's able to get that pop in, and here comes the devil trigger, baby. Go ahead and pull it. As one goes down, follow back in, get the double kill, and out. Never mind, the tower is your own worst enemy, as Lit once said in the 90s, but a solid and flashy and also play coming out of the bot side. But it looks like DJ Kush gonna have to get out of here. That spear not going to land. Meanwhile, in the top side, it looks like Endpoint has not quite learned his lesson. JK, he is starting to stack up against that lesson and taking minuscule amounts of damage now compared to where he was at. Bladestorm is looking for something, but cannot get in range. Is just going to try to proxy this out as best as possible.
Yeah, see the team map picked up there by Endpoint, so he can try and match the Singe and the speed of clearing the lanes, prevent any sort of proxy shenanigans, and prevent that Singe from really doing whatever he wants. I will say, though, I think Samir dying to the turret actually was beneficial, because if she lives, he probably dies to either Skull Chaos and Avi, and they'd much rather have the gold on support set than on that Rumble or on that Nidalee.
You know, he probably just like to be alive.
But I don't know if he would have lived that roam, though, is the thing. I don't know if he would have lived through that roam.
Sure, and I agree with that point absolutely 100%. It's the aggression side of it that more or less makes it moot at that point. But again, it's apples and oranges kind of situation. Both of them help. The fact that Kichi decided to jump that deep in is a let's go, let's do this, let's get the resources. Sitting at 3-1 allows you to pick up those other sides. But the ADC, who's not really the ADC, is now starting to get to that point. Meanwhile, we will have a fight over here by the Rifty. Endpoint going to face check the wall. Nice ultimate, unless that's not what you were looking for. Just kidding. Frankie G picking up the first one. We will have a zombie appear, and it looks like they're going to even lose the Rift Herald that they started, which caused this whole fight. So UNR is just hurting right now, even though they have the Skull Chaos rotating up in that direction. That is going to be an absolutely free +1 over to CSU.
Yeah, I think Avi probably should have just not thrown the spear and try to either nuke down the Rift Herald or just run away. Unfortunately, they're getting a little bit baited, trying to make up for the lack of objectives. You see it's a 2K gold lead for Colorado State. Already 10 minutes in, Man Immune's been finished. There is the Rift Herald. Shelly has gone down. I think you just look at the bot lane. I mean, that's BF Sword, Vamp Scepter versus Akarishi. So it's not going to be a fun, probably next 5 to 6 minutes for Nevada, as they are behind on items in almost every lane.
Ooh, cancels the back. I thought we might have a sneaky situation there, but again, look at us. Frankie G, not Ascent. Frankie G is pushing this so hard in the mid lane. Again, that agency we were talking about. A panic equalizer comes on out. That was for Minion alone. Here comes the culling. It gets a couple of shots in. Shelly will get a headbutt, so the gold's still coming over. Colorado State University, I don't know what happened since the last time I seen you. But darn it, I like it.
I guess you could say the equalizer denied the plate gold from going over to Lucian?
Sure.
If you want that,
sure.
I mean, if you want the silver lining, the 320 gold only went over to Rudolph, so, you know, hey, I'm trying to at least justify the panic equalizer.
You get to be my positive devil's advocate in this whole situation, because right now Colorado State appears to have been doing no wrong. Even though the kill score and the gold is within, it's 3,000 gold at 11 minutes, which is actually pretty substantial when you take a, sorry, 2,000 at that point. But at the end of the day, CSU's looking dang good from not only allowing their top laner to just do top lane things, you see the CS absolutely even, but the fact that they have gotten their Lucian to this point, as well as their ADC, speaks volumes.
I will say the Singe really isn't doing too much. It's a great job there, but in a game of Full Chaos.
Oh man, wanted to give him the old double tap, wasn't able to do so. Bladestorm is going to be pushing out, but that is a 12.5 minute mid turret. 4-1, man, that's a gap. 4-1 and a complete turret before plates. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Nevada, as I was saying. The Singed, I mean, it's not the proxy we've been used to seeing. Stunting's in the bush, but he's on the ward.
He was on the ward, but he doesn't even care. Teleport coming in. Here comes the slam bam. You're dead, ma'am. Devil Trigger finds one. DJ Kush going to be the one to pick that one up here, but it is a huge fight. Kichi is not done. Another one coming there. Give him the double. Here comes the zombie Scion. The question is it going to even matter? The answer is an almost immediate no. You might as well just ult him because you're so stylish.
They're going to go right over to it. Looks like potentially Ocean Dragon set themselves up nicely. Maybe should have opted for the plate push there and then Dragon, but it looks like with the respawns coming out and Obvi down, they're just going to nuke down this Dragon. Maybe try and get some plates, but a nice job by Skull Chaos. He's going to rotate over, prevent any extra plates going over to Samira, who's 5-1 and 1.
The only way for UNR to really get themselves back into this is a long game. Oh, my culling of the gods puts 50%. Oh, it almost gets him on the pull as well, as it looks like Prophet almost falls there. Curtain call is going to come out. Frankie G has to get out of there. Prophet is so low, but looking for the curtain call, is not able to find anything but a hope and a prayer, and you almost actually called the mini wave. That was right there. Meanwhile, bottom side, those plates are gone like you were talking about there, Fish. They're going to find themselves one, possibly two. No, just look at it. Just punch it. Just punch it in its face. Well, they could have had a third. Oh, there it is. I'm wrong. They're better.
That was close.
That was super close, man. But either way, I love what I am seeing out of CSU right now. And whether it's a one-on-one fight, a 4-on-4 fight, CSU is not going to stop, and they are finding every resource available.
I mean, you look across the CS, every single lane is CSU favorite. Frankie G's got to be careful, though.
Watch the 2v1, it's coming. Flash over the wall, it's a Hex Flash, so there's one thing. Here comes Stunt, Stunt going to pull him back in. Frankie G is here, but he's also got the help from Kane on the side. Swoosh Smite coming down the ultimate. Rudolph gonna find that one. Stunting was the one to aggress. He is the one to fall in the process, and he will regret every piece of that decision.
It feels like Colorado, or not Colorado State, it feels like Nevada is starting to panic here. You see the gold lead in 4 minutes has gone from 2K to 6K. That is just how incredible Colorado State's been playing it. But, I mean, that's, you gotta wonder, you know, your Nidalee hasn't finished anything more than the jungle item, just has Blue City in the Dark Sea. Why are you trying to force a fight onto Frankie G more than just to kill the Lucia? There's no big bounty. The 400 golds on Kichi, that felt like they're starting to get into panic mode already, which, by the way, this is a Nevada team that surrendered twice against Boise State, so you don't know how strong the mental. Yeah, both games against Boise State were Nevada surrenders. So I don't know how strong the mental is for the Wolfpack and if they're going to stay in this game very long.
What happened to my favorite team? You know how I feel about surrendering, so that's a little weird for me, but again, right now, Colorado State just has all of the cards, all of the resources, all of the everything. Just walks in the lane and gets eviscerated? Are you joking? Frankie G now looking for a way to fight this one out. 2v1 equalized flash, but it's still going to burn. It's that 3rd degree. It's under the skin. It still hurts even after you put ointment on it. So what was an aggressive move there from Frankie G ends up spelling his demise, but honestly, I don't think he cares. He was trying to make a statement, and that statement was, it takes at least 2 of you to find me and put me in a dangerous spot.
Yeah, nearly soloed down Skull Chaos with just the culling, but I mean, that's one of the things we've seen is teams get a huge lead. I know against Colorado State, Boise State had a really huge lead, and it took them 5 to 7 minutes, probably longer than it should have to finish it off. So if you're the Rams right now, you don't want to get overconfident. You don't want to throw away the 6K gold lead. You play around objectives, play smart, get the Dragon Soul, and you're probably guaranteed a victory. But throwing it away, trying to 2v1 a 2-2 Rumble, not something I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I understand. But, you know, you brought up a question about why would you go after a mid laner as a support. It's because you're a support. You think you have the play, but your team communication is not there yet. And it's actually something you and I struggle with our vibes, is that someone like a support will think, oh, I have a play here. It looks like a 1v2, even a 1v3 in some situations, and the not there dude ratio, as I like to call it, isn't in your favor. And suddenly that 1v3 becomes a 3v3, and you're on the opposite side because you just flashed in. The aggression from UNR right now is a little bit misplaced, while Colorado State has this aggression of, we can do this without punishment. I mean, here they are picking up a second Herald without really any question. And with the rest of that, what else can they grab? I mean, Dragon's going to be up here soon. You've got your giant Lucian sitting right there, so if anyone shows up, sure, it's going to take 3 of them to bring him on down, but the rest of the team can rotate down. So I feel like that's kind of the give and take. And as we jump on in and expending everything, Culling is going to come out. Frankie G looking for a way out. They have found it. Is going to find the equalizer here. So much damage. 3 individuals. The spear is coming out. They commit 100% to that and are able to find it. But question me this, riddle me that, Fish. How many damn ultimates does it take?
Well, it apparently takes at least 1. Stunting, I don't think, ever got in range to slam down Frankie G off the top rope, but I guess, I mean, this is something that, you know, we've seen from time to time in solo queue games where a guy gets really, really fed and he thinks he can, you know, he's like, oh, I can just go wherever I want. I'm an AD carry. I'm going to 1v1 anyone. And Nevada's doing a really good job of saying, hey, Frankie G, we know you're at 1.41-1. We know no one can face you 1v1. How about 1v3? So Colorado State's got to be careful that their fed players, especially the Samir, sitting at 501 with the corner goal. Bouncy doesn't walk into that.
Oh, Goon Squad's here. That's how you win this game. You just hide in like bushes and, you know, hope you get a hit. And yeah, they're going to get it. They're also probably going to get this Infernal Drake off of it. Unless Colorado State gets super spicy, you can let this one go. You really can. You don't need it. But there's a little thing about the whole reputation and making them pay, and I just don't think that's the moment. Of all of the times I didn't want to see something gutsy, that was it. Go ahead and trade that dragon over, pick up something else on the other side, and it works out in me.
Actually, oh no! Heraldina was mid-charge on that inhibitor turret. But now, here we go. Goon Squad's rotating up. Frankie G's got to be careful. Should be able to get this turret, but once again, it's Colorado State not respecting Nevada and the damage they can do.
This is what I like! Blitzcrank hiding in the tri-brush. Got Buddy's there. He's going to burn his ultimate. Equalizer's actually behind, but then the set ultimate's behind the equalizer. No, buddy, you want to put him on the fire. Korean barbecue, flip it around, but it looks like Stinge gets too brave, and Skull Chaos is going to take one and fall in the process. Meanwhile, Rudolph is here, says, run, run, Rudolph. You are toasty, Magosty, obviously meets the GTFO and manages to get behind the tower, but what started as Colorado State being greedy turns into them finding everything they wanted with a handful of kills, sprinkled on top of it.
Yeah, Colorado State, by the way, only had 4 members there. Kiji still hadn't respawned and gotten back up there, so the fact that Nevada lost that 3-1 without the AD carry for Colorado State has got to be concerning. That armor has got to come online very quickly. As you see a 4-3-4 Lucian, a 5-2-1 Samir. The Mirror Mana is finished now for Frankie G. So that damage being output by those 2 AD carries is going to be incredibly large. They just got to make sure they're not pushing solo, because that is what allowed Nevada for a brief moment to have a glimmer of hope.
I think it was more just like the solo push in awkward situations, that bottom brush, you know, towards bottom river, the tri-brush like we saw up top. If they have free agency on these second-tier turrets, which only 1 remains, they could find some kind of potential 3-1-1 kind of push, depending on which lanes you decide to throw them in, especially with just how far ahead they are. I mean, look, we've seen Frankie G 1v3 and almost get away, and it took 2 ultimates plus a full dive to head on into that actual kill. So while I don't think the split push option is the best, it is definitely an option.
You see the Lichbane finish for Avi, so he's going to go more the damage build on Nidalee, not the more supporty build that we've seen come out at Worlds in terms of the Chalice and being able to buff and extra heal your carry. Of course, with Prophet at 0-4-1. Probably a wise decision by Avi, but he's got to make sure he makes the most of that Lichbane, because if he goes down, that is a ton of wasted gold.
Absolutely, and again, it's just a matter of, is there a way for UNR to basically stop the bleeding? Are they going to throw a Hello Kitty Band-Aid on it? Are they going to do some sutures? Hex Flash came through, but whatever, and I do believe that spear hit, so it looks like Kichi is going to take a sizable amount of damage. Should be able to lifesteal that up. Oh, come on, hit him with the hook! Just watch right there, not able to hit it, but it looks like it was coming through the brush nonetheless. Here comes Singe, the slow is there, the jungler going to jump right in through the wall. So this is kind of one of those stalemate situations. We are at 21 minutes. Baron is up. So it looks like CSU could actually bait this out or force a fight if they want to. All it's going to take is one slow from the Singed or a great pull from DJ Kush, which we have seen all night. And that will be game, set, match in favor of CSU. Nevada could use a leg up. They could use a platform to stand on. This might be it. The question is, can they even get in there?
Yeah, Scratch Shot Colorado State didn't take it. Endpoint was down bot lane. Now, of course, he did have to teleport, but with the amount of damage the Rams can put out, half the team for Nevada might have been dead before Sion even showed up. As you mentioned, Baron's alive. Dragon should be coming up here in the next 2 minutes or so, which is what kind of hampered Colorado State last time, face checking down in that river with no vision. So they've got to be careful. Right now, looks like the Rams hanging out in that mid lane, but there's Lucian all alone in the top lane. He's got to be careful, but luckily there is going to be that river scuttle to sort of guide his path right past Baron.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those situations where you just need to really decide where you want to move your aggression. And that's the crazy thing, and I kind of brought that up with Colorado State. We were talking about the, oh, it's all AD, and then Lovely fired off with about the objectives. Take a look at the objectives right now. You've got 2 Drakes against the 1, but the towers speak volumes. Whether it's the Lucian, whether it's the Samira, they're able to get whatever they want, so long as the conditions are open. And they're not fighting behind. I like to bring up the burden of victory right now. CSU just really has to play this game out. So long as they don't screw up anything monumental, they should have the resources and the ability now, as we are teetering 8,000 gold mark, to do what they need to do.
Yeah, Dragon spawning soon. Spear's gonna miss. Colin comes out. Nothing of value for either place. I would be surprised if Nevada fights this. You can just concede this Dragon, but Colorado State looks like they would fight.
Oh! Here comes the slam and the equalizer. That is probably the best one I have seen so far. But meanwhile, your support Telfar is unbelievably disappearing. Frankie G says 1v3 me, bro. I will take one out. Samira is in, and she is stylish, as also Kane here gonna find himself one. Rudolph is in. The rest of Colorado State is looking oh so cash point and money, and the rest of CSU gonna wipe the board of UNR. Your color may be blue, but it is also making you see gray, because right now CSU fighting their 3rd Drake and Infernal, and this will be you.
Yeah, that's soul point for Colorado State. The Baron pings come out. You see the death timers, though. No, that's a surrender. That's a surrender once again for Nevada.
You gotta be kidding me.
That's a surrender.
You are playing in a collegiate league! I am so sorry I'm yelling. You are playing for your name, your alma mater. You are playing for reputation plus skill. Do not surrender a game. Your sponsors will fire you. God.
It's another surrender for Nevada. Like I said, you have
sorry,
to.
Man. I just.
You're good. I think Nevada's lucky that you weren't here for the Boise State Nevada game, because you might have actually been bald by the end of the first game, because it was very, very interesting, some of the surrenders we saw. As we hear from production, Frankie G nearly doubling the next closest damage. And I was going to say, Colorado State's team fight at that very last one, that was ugly. Frankie G got left alone to be 1v3'd. Thankfully, they had Samira on the back line, but Blitzcrank and their jungler and Singe were in one spot. Frankie G was all by himself somewhere else and got ran down by Nevada. So I'm not going to say that I was very confident Colorado State had that one in the bag, but that's not for me to say. It's another surrender for Nevada. So we're on to match point for Colorado State, and be quite the upset for the Rams to make it back and take on the Broncos. I know a lot of people expecting Nevada to be the ones who got their redemption shot, but Colorado State, they started early, and as we talked about, Nevada has shown a tendency to, when the chips are down, just say, hey, GG next.
You can't see. Listen, I've been part of this program for a very, very long time. I brought up the fact that UNR used to make me almost wet my bed in fear. If you're... anyways, again, friends, family, whoever you are, if you are on stage, you are beyond your solo queue picks. You play that game till the Nexus falls, because only thing you gained from giving up is a serious level of disappointment for yourself at that stage. And I don't care if it's 10K, 20K, or 2K. Any team, any day, there is an option for one of those 5 players to absolutely lose their brain for 10 seconds, and you get a pivotal fight. So again, I know I'm being super aggro right now, but if this is a consistent thing, that already tells me that UNR is beyond mentally incapable of moving through these next few games if this is the way they're going to continue to play.
Well, they've got to get 2 back. You might want to be careful on your words, Adam, because if Nevada comes back and beats Boise State, I'm sure you will be clipped and mocked, but it looks like you are welcoming that. So we'll see. It's Colorado State match point now. Second chance bracket. Winner not only gets the chance to face Boise State in the grand finals on Saturday, they also get to move on in the Invitational across the region. North, South, East, and West, all having different collegiate conferences.
They walked into our own arena and made us look like garbage. What happened? What happened?
I feel bad for the poor person or imaginary person or stuffed animal of Liam's that you are yelling at right now. I'm going to be honest.
It's an open window. It's actually my neighbor's.
Okay. And I thought it was like your Ramus hat or like, you know, his favorite teddy bear. And you're just like, ripping that thing down. You were just shredding apart.
This is the reason I don't like it, all right? You know me, we talk about this all the time. I'm the first one to give up because it's solo queue. It does not matter. But not only do you have...
It depends on who you ask. Some people think your solo queue matters more than your life value.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you are part of a team, a conglomerate, and I realized that as a team and conglomerate, you decided this was not a game you wanted to play out. If that's the case, surrender it at 15. Don't surrender it at 2025. One item spike, one misplay. Fish, how many times have we been down 12,000 and still somehow managed to run it back because it's 12:30 at night? This is the last game. The stakes are so unbelievably high. So at this point, I almost don't care how the game plays out, so long as UNR finally starts to believe in themselves. If at any point in time I can see that, I'll be okay with it.
It's going to be interesting because, like I said, I mean, they surrendered both games against Boise State. One of them was questionable. One of them was, I think, about 10, 15K, and the writing was all. I think Boise State was actually on the Nexus, so it was just an early surrender to move on. But I'll be really curious because, I mean, it's only 18-9. Gold lead was 7K maybe. Maybe Baron goes down. The respawns were going to come out, but we'll never know. The Wolfpack wanted to run it back, so we move on to game 2 and have to think Lucian's probably gone and potentially Samira going to be targeted down by the Wolfpack? Or Blitzcrank.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know
at this point, you go ahead and do whatever makes you play a full game. And again, people are throwing me under the bus in the chat. I can see it. It's right here. I don't care. It is a collegiate level. Some of these schools have paid you to be on that field. And I know that sounds really terrible to say, but the fact that you are just going to roll over and die does not feel good mentally or statistically speaking. Your average game time just dropped. Welcome to the bottom of the tier.
I think Adam's going for the long con here. He's going for the disappointed dad who had his team in the championship game. He's trying to rally Nevada. He's trying to rally Nevada. I can see it.
That's fine. You know what? Fine. How about this, Nevada? Again, you have made me fall asleep with tears in my eyes. Your program has absolutely decimated the one I have pledged myself to. And the fact that in 1 year it has flip-flopped makes me super not happy. But I know you. I believe in you. You know what? I dare say I bleep and love you. And so I know you are fully capable of something better than that. As far as the game is concerned, maybe slow up. Don't let your opponent team get that far ahead and then just continually force fights that you know you can't win. We talked about the dude to not dude ratio. You think you have one, but there's 3 in the wings. That's what happened time after time. So what do I want to see out of UNR? I want them to collect themselves. And I'm not just talking mentally. I'm talking throughout the course of the game. They were taking fights they didn't need to take that they thought they had that just exponentially exploded that lead. When the mid lane Frankie G is at 4-1, you don't necessarily need to be expending 2.5 ultimates just to get the 1 kill and a turret plate on the bottom side. Excuse me. I'm losing my breath and I'm dying already.
Well, as Adam attempts to recover, we will be moving on to a game 2. Hopefully, Nevada can redeem themselves in Chizu's eyes, because I still think that this is a very winnable series. As I mentioned, Colorado State did not leave me impressed. There were multiple times Frankie G and Kichi got caught out without wards that nearly put the Wolfpack back in the game. That last team fight, they left Frankie G all alone, and him going down could have spelled doom, but luckily Kichi was able to sort of hard carry on the back line, and they were able to sort of eventually sandwich Nevada and also bait the Wolfpack in. Would have loved to see Nevada just disengage. Hey, we got Frankie G. It's only soul point. Let's just concede. We can fight over Baron, but that's not what happened. So I'm going to guess probably Blitzcrank gets taken away, because that was what was activating all the plays. Once again, this is Colorado State, Nevada. This is the second chance finals for the Mountain West Fall League of Legends Invitational. Both these teams handed their first loss by Boise State. It's double elimination, so 2 and you're gone. Winner will not only get the chance to play Boise State Saturday in the grand finals, as we see there, the winner will also, as not mentioned on the bullet points here, advance to the next round of this invitational, because this is, as said, the College League of Legends Fall Invitational. The top 2 teams from all of the conferences that are running this tournament go on to the next round. Boise State, they've already secured that spot. Nevada and Colorado State, they are battling not only to win the conference, but also to secure their right to move on to the next round. And as we see there, we've talked about it a little bit, the logos arranged in a very specific order from left to right. That is how the Broncos coaching staff believes the teams are on terms of overall strength. Boise State at number 1, Nevada at number 2, and Colorado State sitting at number 4. The Wolfpack and Broncos were the 1 and 2 seed in the tournament, so Boise State and the Mountain West agreeing just a little bit there. As we take a look back at how everyone got here, Boise State the number 1 seed, they took down UNLV, they 2-0'd Colorado State, and then they 2-0'd Nevada to move on to the grand finals, where they have been just calmly waiting for their opponent. Meanwhile, you see Nevada 2-0'ing Wyoming and San Jose State before being knocked down to the second chance bracket, where we will see here momentarily that Colorado State 2-0'd Hawaii, 2-0'd UNLV, and a little bit of an upset. I know a lot of people were expecting it to be Rebels and Wolfpack here tonight to give Colorado State now the potential. They are 1 match away from not only upsetting Nevada, but getting a chance at revenge for Boise State, a chance to redo what we saw in the very epic Mountain West Mountain semifinals in the last semester, and get revenge also because they did get dominated in the Mountain West Championships in Vegas. I mean, there was no surrenders, but the games were to the point where you wouldn't have been upset, or anyone but Chizu wouldn't have been upset.
What? There was no surrenders?
There was no surrender.
That's so weird. It's almost like, anyways, again, I realize I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but you just give yourself no time to grow. But with that said, I would love to see that all the way through. Again, Boise State, as you broadcast from the arena, that's where I am most of the time. I would love to see Boise make themselves available for that final. As you said, a heartbreaker of a series last season was not supposed to be the case. Even the casters that weren't us were like, well, CSU wasn't supposed to be here. And it's like, give them some damn credit, friends. They fought their way through it. They massacred some teams, and here they are. And I love what I have seen year after year from CSU. Nothing but improvement.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I know a lot of people were saying, hey, you know what, Colorado State, you'll give it your all, but it's probably going to be a repeat of what we saw in the spring. Hey, Boise State, let's scout on Nevada and see what the Wolfpack want to throw at them for round 2. But we are, it's like we said, we are on a match point for Colorado State. I'm guessing the players have taken a break to collect their heads, so we will.
If not, we only need to wait 20 minutes.
The Zingers are not going to stop from you, are they?
No, not at all. Don't surrender your games. I probably won't make money.
Well, there we go. We're going to go on to game number 2. They've collected their heads, and once again, Colorado State, they said, hey, Yone, you are gone, as you would say, Cheesy.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just got a lot. We were talking about this Yasuo 3.0 with Yone being the Yasuo 2.0, kind of, if you will. He's his brother. Just another champion that's just super annoying to deal with, and I'm actually surprised I didn't see the Samira ban on the other side. There it is, actually, as I speak of it. Get rid of another ADC that they don't want to deal with. Vladimir is also indicative of last game, followed by Cigar or no Cigar, the most devastating man in the jungle. And, yep, there it is. Lucian ban is picked.
No Lilia ban from Nevada, and I have to wonder if Colorado State wants to pick it up, because that's the other thing Avi's been playing. Every match up until the Boise State game, he just played Nidalee one game, got the Nidalee ban, then he'd play Lilia the next game. So not banning the Lilia double-sided for Nevada, one, it opens it up for Avi, and it also opens up for Colorado State, but they're going to take another champion that was banned last game. They're putting DJ Kush on the Leona. Full banking Nevada probably had a Blitzcrank counter redder, probably the Ezreal, maybe the Tristana, something to be a little bit safer in that bot lane. So there's that Leona. It's still hard engage, but instead of bringing the champion to to him, she's got to go to the champion.
Yeah, you know what? I love what I'm seeing the UNR take my energy. Every single individual in the chat needs to be throwing it to them right now because they need some kind of mental boost at this point in time. Liliana going to be grabbed, a champion I've absolutely loved, but I've also stated her early game is where it kind of falls apart. Her late game is great. We'll have to see what the jungle maneuver and takeaway is there. Actually, just kidding. We're going to find the Evelyn here, so they're going to put her in a different spot. But I am a Leona stanner for sure. And I love the engage that she offers. Instead of pulling them towards you, you pull yourself towards them. Given the right situation, they're not leaving. And even on the opposite spectrum in which you have a support that can lock you into place, you're allowed to just smack them in the face with your Q auto and reap the benefit. Kane, no surprises. Jhin is going to be picked up here. Love this one. I adore Curtain Call. Team that up with a Leona Solar Flare. You are not going anywhere, and you're dead before the second shot.
Yes, we have a little bit of a pro draft hiccup there. So it's actually the Ezreal, not the Evelyn. So still got to think that Lilia is in the jungle. And as I said, I think that you would be like, well, why didn't DJ push his run back to Blitzcrank? Because you had to assume Nevada's like, we're just going to play Ezreal. We're going to hard counter the Blitzcrank in the lane. We're going to make it impossible for him to land a hook. So that's the Ezreal pick. There's the Camille last pick for Nevada. So endpoint probably going from tank to DPS. And we're going to go into phase 2 of the bans, looking for a top and a mid for Colorado State and a mid and a support for the side of Nevada.
I like the Camille pickup. It's just kind of like the opposite Sion situation. You know, instead of charging in to knock people up and then go ape, you can do it off of the wall. You can do it off of the Hextech Ultimatum. And we did see those exchanges actually go in favor of the side of UNR. So I want to see this Camille start popping off, and we'll see what we're looking at here in ban phase number 2. They don't want to even mess with the Singe. That is 3 champions from the previous game that they don't want to see again, and a Shen on top of it. Pantheon going to be removed as well. So this is interesting. I like this. We liked what you had before. Now try something else. Take them off those primary picks, put them on the secondary picks, and if you really want to get rid of a lane, give them the tertiary ban. Find something they can't deal with and try to beat them on mechanics alone.
I have to think that, I was going to say, I wonder where that Shen was banned for Nevada or for Colorado State. But there's the Nocturne, so you know it's the ramp. Once again, they do not want to allow Skull Chaos to on to that Nocturne. They also took away his Vladimir, something he's played really well. Benjamin Adam, of when the Nevada came in here and sort of stomped Boise State, it was a lot of Skull Chaos on that Vladimir when you took a look at the highlights. So that has been basically banned from him the last 2 games. There's the Galio being picked up by Skull Chaos, so he's going to be more of that support roamer this time for the Nevada mid lane, and we'll see what Colorado State wants to answer with their last 2 picks. There's the Urgot that was banned away last game, so they'll go from Singe to Urgot. Mask on the face, but it's still not going to matter no matter who he plays. A lot of pressure on endpoint to be able to sustain in that lane.
Oh, absolutely. He needs to find some way to go about it. I do like the Galio in the support situation against the Leona. Nothing better than when she tries to Zenith on you, you taunt her in, and then just smack her around for a couple seconds and really make her regret the aggression that PSU has been using, and now you see the set pickup. I love the engage from this team.
I'm not a big fan of set mid. I really don't think that it's something, especially if it's Frankie G on the set mid. I mean, the dude just popped off on Lucian, and you now have relegated him to probably more of a tank. I know when set mid was a thing, you just built him tanky and you relied on his insane scaling. There's the zillion picks. So Nevada does have that sort of mid support flex going on right now. I would have to lean. It's probably zillion support, but Boise State's played Galio support so much that I really have no idea what's happening. But I still am not a huge fan of that set mid lane. You just took Frankie G from hard carrying early to, hey, just ult someone into our fight and hope Urgot and Jhin can kill him. So I'm not a huge fan personally of what Colorado State picked up here when they're sitting on match point.
Let's just go to a time and date in which set does not exist. You can actually throw that Urgot into the mid lane if you really want to. It's a thing that happened, you know, early on. You can throw Set in the top side. And again, as far as top for seed as he was concerned, we have found all you have to do is let him sit there. Guess who does a really good job of that? The Set. So while I don't think that necessarily will be the case, I would not be surprised if that ends up being the loadout.
Well, as we give our thoughts, let's toss it over to Glovely, who's now going to be set up and ready to give his thoughts. So Glovely, a little bit of a shocking Game 1 result. So what are you looking at for Game 2, and where are you sitting on how the team's drafted?
Well, I do think the way that it ended was a bit unfortunate, but going into Game 2, looking at the champions that they've drafted, the Rams have drafted themselves an AD-based composition. There's no AP here, and we saw in the previous game that wasn't so much of an issue if you can get ahead early. But however, as far as their team composition is this time, there's a lot more late scaling to it. There's not a lot of early burst on their team. Urgot's definitely a lane bully, but in terms of his ability to deal out consistent damage and to take towers, he's not nearly as good as having, say, another marksman on your team. And as a result, that's going to cause them more trouble later on in the game when they have these champions like the Galio to try and get through. Galio can't really build armor. He is going to favor magic resist. So we could see a very different Galio build in this game depending on how they try to respond to that.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
No,
go ahead, Fish.
No, go ahead, Cheese.
Well, I was just curious about like where you think this lineup is, because we really talked about how we're not exactly sure where people are going. Give me kind of a plus minus on whoever, wherever.
In terms of the Rams lineup, I believe is what you're talking about.
Sure.
Between the Urgot and the Set, personally, I like Set top myself. I think he does have a pretty decent matchup into Camille. He can actually pick her up with the Showstopper and throw her out of her own Hextech ultimatum. So that is an option he has available to him to try and escape from that. Alternatively, I mean, Urgot mid is something that we've seen way back in the day, ever since it was used as a Z counter, like pre-rework. But I still think it's a very viable choice in the mid lane because you do still have that range. So if you're up against mid lane mages or other champions of that sort, you have the ability to still fight back against them. And of course, you also have that durability, so if you're up against an assassin, you don't just get one shot as soon as you walk into the lane.
And let's follow it up from the Nevada side. We were kind of debating on the Galio versus the Zillion in the mid support role. So what are you looking at there, Glovely, and who do you think goes where for Nevada?
I think you send Galio to the mid lane. In terms of Galio's big strength, he's really strong when he gets to roam, when he gets to use his ultimate to impact the map. And the best place to put him for that is in that mid lane role where he's able to roam back and forth. He's able to pick up damage items for his team. On the other hand, though, Galio as a support is also a very viable option. It means that you get to put more AP onto that Zillion, which means his resurrections are going to give you more health. He's going to deal more damage with the time bomb. And of course, Galio's got plenty of crowd control to set up his team with the Justice Punch, with the taunt. So definitely have some options. If you play Galio as a roaming support, you could get more out of him that way. Although you're going to have a hard time getting up to top lane.
Right, and that's one of those things is, again, I bring it up all the time. I'm basically all I play is support, unless I'm forced somewhere else. I do like that situation with Zillion going in the mid lane. He's not as much of a supporty support as he used to be. It's one of those things where if you are planning to die, you are already making a mistake. Do you agree or disagree?
Oh, definitely. Don't go into a fight planning to die, but you know, it's good to have that extra out to bring your tank back or to pull back a carry if your team is able to give enough time for that member to revive.
And real quick, Glovely, who do you think wins, Nevada or Colorado State here?
I like the Rams.
All right, Glovely thinks it's going to be Rams-Broncos in the grand final. We'll have to see as we kick off game number 2. It's match point for Colorado State. Nevada's trying to force us to a game 3. And Endpoint's going to walk right into an evade, and it looks like, unfortunately for Colorado State, they are going to get spotted out.
I want to clip that. I like Colorado. Like I love Glovely, and I want that as like my ringtone. Like whenever I get a text now, I like Colorado. As we do see the Goon Squad looking for something, not gonna find it. So now we get the standard kind of line of scrimmage, if you will, when it comes to the first minute 30 here, as no one's looking to really invade. They're just making sure nobody takes their spot as far as the map is concerned.
It does look like, as we mentioned, Galio on the support role. I mean, feels like a lot of Nevada playing a little bit of copycat. I think Dean played that against them in sort of hard carry, hitting it almost as many taunts as DJ Kush hit hooks, if not more. And we do see Frankie G on the mid lane set. It's got the Doran Shield to start. I know they just recently, Riot did try to change it to say, hey, please don't build tank set. It's not very fun and no one likes to watch that. So I'll be curious to see if he still sticks with that sort of tanky core or if he does bring out something more a little bit offensive.
And now that we do have answers, again, I do like the setup from both of these teams and or whoever decided to counter whatever lane. Again, I'd have to look at the picks and stuff. Go ahead, Fish. I see the finger.
Galio doesn't have any items. Galio's got nothing. He has pulled a double lift to start the game. He doesn't have teleport either. I mean, maybe he's got some grand plan. Now he's gonna back. He realized he probably went to go kill a minion. He's like, guys, I don't have any items. Man, that has gotta hurt.
I miss anything? Or just the usual?
You missed him backing for a relic. I mean, I guess you
Oh,
could
hey!
argue.
Woo!
I mean, no, there's back. I was gonna say maybe he wanted to back so he could get it, but just don't buy any. I got nothing. I can't defend that one. Maybe someone could point it out to me.
Maybe you would have been right. There was a next, Giga Brain 10,000 Brain Meat strategy there. I don't think that's the case. However, it does look like we do have an early Lilia Realm on the top side. Here comes the hook shot, gonna drop on in. He is going to be able to get on out. Oh no, the Eep Lookout is going to do some damage, but it looks like Breakstorm taking a ton of damage here is possibly going to fall from the red buff. Not going to be the case. It was one of those pucker scenarios, as I like to say. Nice boost of the Relic Shield, and now, uh-oh, Jungle v Jungle, you made fun of my top laner. How dare you? You shall not pass. As it looks like an exchange of aggression is going to make both teams kind of take a second and go, I gotta go home, bud.
Flash blown from Obby, flash blown from Rudolph as well, so no flashes for either jungler. I think that probably favors Kane a little bit since, it's cool that he can go into walls and basically do what he wants. Nice hook in.
Well, see what happens. Just a little bit of damage exchange there. It's really interesting with Zed in the mid lane. He really just doesn't have a whole lot of early game aggression. It's not like when you're facing a Zed and he jumps on you and you're like, well, I'm toast here, or an Echo or something of that caliber. Oh, wow. Oh, look at that, dude. Colorado State already moving up, says nice blue. I think I'll take it. Brazilian would have loved that. But Frankie G here doing a good job of just sustaining the lane, allowing for bot lane to rotate up, just the support for that matter. Jungle gets the invade because they know that the other jungle is already going home for a quick second. We'll see how that unfolds for the rest of the game.
Looks like Obby's on the Rift Herald, so if he reads it right, especially with the gank coming in the mid lane, he knows to invade, and he's going to do just that.
Well, he's going to get a little hit there. He's going to get one bomb and the 30% slow. Second one not going to land, so it tickles. Here comes the Zenith Blade and the drop to follow. We're jumping in with the Justice Punch. Here comes the taunt. That is the shield there from TJ Kush. Now they are able to re-engage, but it looks like Rudolph is in a bad situation here. Going to find himself in the middle of a 3v1. Goes into the wall. First blood over to Lilia, and that's probably one of the worst individuals you can give it to. I've always stated if her early game pops off, it is going to be a sleepy, deepy, troubling time for each and every one of you. Nice double bomb there will allow for the stun, but nothing much else after that. Meanwhile, Endpoint looking to jump in, but Blade Storm says, cool, I got shotgun lane, boyo, and he's going to continue on the damage. A relatively even trade with Nevada coming out on top. Frankie G, meanwhile, able to get out of the double bomb scenario, is taking so many minions. Says you guys are tiny. Here comes the slam, the damage, and the smack in the face. Nice little Pengu emote. If it makes you feel better, then I guess go ahead and use it. You've got 4 other buttons. That doesn't necessarily need the one. Nice work on the Eep Lookout. Just kidding. One bomb lands. The second one does not. Rudolph, flash, and a grab. Meanwhile, bot side, DJ Kush finds himself in a precarious situation. Stunting, looking up for more. Going to throw out the Q. Is not going to do anything other than tickle the ADC of the side of CSU. And as far as all things concerned, it is a tiny, whiny, wibbly, wobbly situation throughout the map.
It was a great response on that blue buff steal by Nevada being ready for it. Colorado State kind of left Rudolph all alone. Probably thought maybe Obby was a little bit lower. Nice hook in there by Frankie G.
Frankie G gotta give him the old face punch, face breaker, not going to really do anything other than push him out of lane. Bomb is going to go off after that minion falls. It's a little bit of a tickle me Elmo situation as far as the mid lane is concerned. Unless you can get that double bomb and then continue on top of it, it only hurts so much. Unless you can get more than just the face breaker, it's only a tickle, more for the shield than anything else. So we need to see either one of these two mid laners get the items they need to start exponentially dealing damage. Again, look at the CS alone. That set that we were like, oh, don't send to mid lane, oh no, is currently 51-30 right now, almost doubling up his opponent, and there is a stop of the back, and they know where the opposing jungle is. I love the informational advantage here from CSU. They're gonna get a Drake out of it because they just know.
Yeah, great read there, Frankie G. Unfortunately, Graceful Augment's gonna slow him down.
Yeah, looks like damage coming out. There's that face breaker. Nice 50% health. Meanwhile, Frankie G, we said we didn't like him on tanky champions. I almost feel like it's almost a better situation. There's no gamble here. He can just walk up, poke you in the face, say, hey, how are you? And it's the mechanics on Frankie G that looks so damn good right now.
Yeah, the only thing is he's not going to get to that 4-1 mark, I don't think, this game, simply because you don't kill Zilean before 6, you're not going to ever kill him. He's going to be able to get that res off, and how Avi's been playing, he's going to rotate down while you're waiting for the stasis to fall, and Frankie G probably going to be a little bit low because he's going to take some of that poke. Unfortunately, Merch Treads and a Ruby Crystal picked up here. This smells like tank set, and to me, this smells like this is a very, very bad start for Colorado State. Like I said, yeah, yes, he can play tank, yes, he can poke. Late game, it's all now on Urgot and Jhin. You just took a DPS off the board. I'm not a fan of it, but see if I'm wrong.
You know what? The only counter argument I have to give Fish, the R button.
True.
Both of those champions really do have a strong potential R combination between them. You also take a look at the jungle and mid. We always talk about jungle mid synergy and stuff of that nature. Right now, they're the ones that are in the lead as far as their CS is concerned, while the deaths may not necessarily show that situation. I do like what I'm seeing on the side of Colorado State. You mentioned a rough start. I would argue just on the stat side of things, because here comes Rudolph right now. He's more than willing. Here comes the dash, the flash, and the ultimate comes on through. In comes the Hextech ultimatum. Have fun meeting the meat grinder as a double sleep is in a solid Q. This could be 2 for the side of Avi, but decides to fight the minions instead. A little nice try there, mi amigo. Oh, Prophet! Oh, what was that? And the follow-up here from Avi, possibly as Rudolph, is run, ruin the flash, and the tower hit is in, and they're gonna find themselves a Rift Herald in the process. Beautiful play from UNR. See, this is what I've been looking for all evening.
That was, I mean, you went on your soapbox about Game 1. That was embarrassing. I mean, you're just sitting there, you're taunting Lilia because you're like, oh, you're not going to kill me, and then you throw away. I mean, yes, it was a great snipe by the Ezreal, but they had no business staying there. Colorado State has just got to feel just absolutely embarrassed for how they handled that top lane. They should have got 1 kill and walked away instead. They're going to hand 2 to Nevada, and you mentioned Lilia's the last champion you want first blood. How about the last champion with 100% kill participation at 2-0-1?
I'm just going to keep bringing it up. That's exactly what I am talking about. All you need is one. Oh, 2 situations. The taunt is in. Support is here. Rudolph has to get on out. Able to dive away from the damage is coming out, but Rudolph is going to fall. Bomb is out, and Frankie G is all by his lonesome. The tank stats are there, but the ultimate does come out, as we mentioned, and Zilean is able to turn this fight even better than it looked before. They were given a 1v3. They now find themselves a 3v2 and walk away with 2. UNR looking more familiar as far as I am concerned.
Yeah, they're going to probably tower dive this Urgot here in the top lane.
Here comes everybody as Bladestorm's looking for a way out. Justice Punch comes in. Bomb number 1 is in, as well as the rest of the damage. Avi walks on in, gives him the old Q treatment, and that is a massive collapse here on the top side.
Here, take a look at the gold. Big shout out to production for flipping that up for us there. You've got Lilia at 4,600. No one else in the game is even at 4K, even on his own team. And no one at Colorado State is above 3,500. So Avi is 1,000 gold ahead of everybody else.
Meanwhile, pre-11 minutes, that tower is Hattori Gonzo. You can make some Japanese steel out of that, but you're not going to get much out of it, as it looks like, again, Colorado State may have been behind as far as the kills are concerned. Gold is actually only 200 ahead in favor of Nevada with that 5-kill lead. Here comes that Rifty we were talking about, so that will change something here in the very near future. I think we'll see. But again, at the end of the day, despite the KDA, Nevada looking beautiful, but Colorado not that far behind.
Just got to be concerned about how they're going to deal with Avi. Dive in on the end point. Shelly's in the mid lane. Did get the charge off, so that's another 320 gold going over to that Lilia, and that's going to just be more and more scary the game goes on. As you mentioned, she's made it through that early game that you were concerned about. Now it's up to Colorado State to deal with that late game that you were worried about.
No, again, at this point, the Lilia has already won the game in my mind in some way, shape, or form. Because, like I mentioned, you cannot give her early resource. Just go ahead and take quick little Picorino at the KDA 5-0-1. You have not done anything, but we got to fight. Here comes the Solar Flare 2, going to be caught in it. CSU putting out as much damage as possible, but a massive amounts of damage coming out from them. Here comes the curtain off. Frankie G going to fall not only from the tower, but as well as the damage. And as far as all things are concerned, 2 for 1 in favor of CSU. Another Zenith in, but DJ Kush taking serious amounts of damage. A good stop there with the Blossom will allow for Jin to do more, but Prophet going to find another 3-0, running the perfect game that Israel picked, becoming absolutely left pedal clutch.
Colorado State really just can't get out of their own way. I mean, you won the fight, you got the huge shutdown onto the Kane. What were you doing re-engaging there, DJ Kush? There was no way you won that, even if you landed a perfect combo onto that Ezreal. He still has the cleanse available. I mean, once again, the second time we've seen this game where Colorado State has said, we want to fight. Let's bite off more than we can chew and just absolutely give her any advantage we gained away. Another first dragon of the game for Nevada, as the Colorado State had picked up the first one. So Infernal versus Ocean, Mountain Soul going to be rising, but Colorado State could easily be, 5-3 right now, even 4-3. Instead, it's 8-3 in the gold lead, as you mentioned. It's only 300 gold, but there's 3 eliminations that should have never happened.
It looks like we got a fight here on the top side. Top endpoint taking a serious amount of damage as Bladestorm is able to use the shotgun legs to clear out not only the minions, but to apply a lot of damage. DJ Kush rotates more than I ever could dream to rotate. Spent more time in the mid lane than he did on the bottom side, even at this point. Again, facetious at the very least. To clear out this vision ward, they will reset here. Bottom lane turret already dropped from the side of Colorado State, allowing them agency on that bottom side, but it looks like UNR wants to find the top side. No qualms there. Again, 5-1 and 2. Liliana is going to be super hard to find, not only because of the movement speed, but because of the fact that you're probably taking a nap. DJ Kush coming on in, gets the Q stun, and we're just going to hit the blast cone because, you go there, I go there, and we'll call it a day.
No one was even there with DJ Kush, so I mean, that could have been an easy solo kill. Skull Chaos didn't know that. He's going to play that very, very safe. Looks like the turret place starting to fall. There's one maybe open in the mid lane for Nevada if they push quickly, but I don't think they're going to get there. So Colorado State's going to end up with 5. Nevada's going to end up with just 3. So a slight gold lead on the plate side is what in part keeping Colorado State in the game.
Rudolph looking for something here. Hookshot is going to come out, and the, entrance of the wall spells the, I guess we'll say intention there. But again, Avi is just so stupid fast right now. I'm talking about just the ability to get in and out, like, untouched at this point. Endpoint going to be putting on in some damage. Here comes the Hextech Ultimatum, as well as the Galio Ultimate, as it looks like Bladestorm is trying to get on out of there. Here comes Rudolph, a great 2-minute Solar Flare, followed by the Zenith Blade, will allow for CSU to continue. Rudolph finds one, but will fall in the process to the Camille. Damage pot coming out, as Avi gonna regain this one. Facebreaker is going to land. Funk for Frankie G finds one. Here comes the curtain call. Touché! Kiki finds one and will not relent. A double for him. Here comes the slow. A double kill as well. One aside. Sorry, 3-4 as far as the kills are concerned. Bottom lane still alive for Nevada, and Jin is there for CSU.
Yeah, that was a really good job. I honestly thought when Kichi got through, I was like, no, please don't go in. Please just stop. Don't go in. Yeah, it was a really well-played fight. Good job by Frankie G. Saw the Zillion ult come out and just didn't do anything on the set to break it, and then immediately slammed the Facebreaker right in the Zillion's face as soon as that ult went down. So very well played by him. But it's going to be, it looks like the Jin and Ezreal show, as it's 2-0-2 versus 4-0-1, the only surviving members of that fight. And you have to think that, I don't know who that favors. It probably still favors Nevada simply because the Lily is 7-2-4, but great job by Colorado State to make that a fair trade all around.
The first time I brought up gold differential, it was only within 200. This is probably the 4th time I've brought up gold differential, and it's not much better than that. So despite the fact that it's 0-5, much like when I first brought it up, as far as the differential is concerned, it's very interesting. So as far as resources are concerned, here comes the hook shot. Never mind, Frankie G going to be fighting endpoint here. He built a tankier route. Facebreaker is going to come out. One of those top laners. Okay, we are here. I was in mid lane for the first half of the game, but it looks like Bladestorm is more than okay given the legs, the treatment here. Looking for more minion than anything else, but Frankie G is going to be dropped on here. Chilling Smite is going to be used, but it is not enough. Frankie G feeling more than okay, trying to farm up all of these, but we do have a jump in here. Justice Punch. DJ Kush going to be the one to be found out. The slow is there. Solar Flare comes through. The slow is there, but a great ultimate from Ezreal. Find 2 of them, and here comes Q and 4, and they're going to find another one. Profit is going to fall in the process. Frankie G going head-to-head right here with Endpoint. The slow is going to come through. Frankie is going to be forced to flash out. The taunt is not there. Double kill right there for the side of Kichi, and they are not going to slow down yet. It is 3v2. Profit does have the ultimate. Just focus somewhere else for half a second, and it looks like it is not going to be enough. Curtain call is going to come on out. Kichi looking for something, popping shots, and then some, but Zillion will stand in the way to stop the aggression. An amazing move there from UNR, and a huge situation, all things considered. Their health bars may be low, but I hope to God their morale is through the roof.
Looks like all 3 backs are going to get off, but once again, that time it was only 1, but there's no reason why Frankie G and Kichi shouldn't have just said, hey, look, we've got our kills, let's just disengage. They tried to get tricky. Nice Zillion ult there by cLoL to keep Profit alive, and it really feels like it's going to come down to whatever team takes down the enemy AD carry first. Been a while since the game's been played like that, is going to be victorious, but Colorado State keeps sort of shooting themselves in the foot because they keep winning fights, or at least getting decent trades. That time a 3 for 2, and then Frankie G's like, hey, let's keep fighting, and ends up giving 1 more kill away. So just a little bit more reservation from Colorado State, and they would easily not be trailing in gold right now, but it's all in the backs of Kichi right now.
Well, they could be trailing by a lot more. That's kind of what I was alluding to with my earlier stat, is that the kill line right now, the 7 kill difference, should spell more than what they are looking at right now. But Colorado State has done a really good job of clawing their way back and making those losses negligible at the very, very best. Again, UNR, this is what I was talking about the whole time. This is what I love. This is what I expect from you. But here comes the face breaker and an exchange of damage from the mid laner and top laner, respectively. Is Kishi going to be dropped on in? Gets the mystic shot to the face. Rudolph going to also get mouthed by the GPL here. DJ Kush and Frankie G now just taking control of this top side, but it looks like Endpoint is more than okay. Has the momentum as well as the just game awareness because of the words alone, and it should be Frankie G being able to see this. Here comes the hero's entrance, but it was just outside. Hextech ultimatum is not quite where they want it to be. Facebreaker comes on in. Oh my god, Zillion was taking so much turret damage, he may not be able to get out of here unless he has the ultimate. Here comes the solar flare. It's not quite enough to end it as the red team summons Rift Herald. Damage is coming out. Zenith's going to be interrupted by the Justice Punch, trying to put down Endpoint. Not going to be the case. A 3-for-0 exchange. UNR has this fight. They can find not only 1, not only 2, but 4 in the entirety of this team fight, and they will be gifted a beautiful, prestige, full health turret, not only in the top side, but the middle lane as well. Never mind, sorry, okay, I spoke too soon. Let's look at the middle turret for sure.
A nice snipe there by Bladestorm to at least get his team something. Once again, I mean, that fight right there totally proved why I think Tank set on Frankie G was an absolute throw. I mean, the guy couldn't even do anything. It just, if you don't have confidence,
I wouldn't say absolute, but when you have 4 in 1 lane, it's really bleeping hard to get out of there. Considering the fact that he built Tank.
It doesn't do damage. You take a great player like Frankie G and you isolate him to a support. You have to be asking yourself why. I mean, but he's still got time to prove me wrong. But I think that was probably a huge reason why Colorado State right now is staring at a near 5K gold deficit. Mid inhibitor wide open, and by the way, no one's getting to that ender.
Is this where Colorado surrendered?
Not yet. They might.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure. I wasn't sure, because it's 20 minutes now, and like I figured if we were losing, that's where you just surrender it out at 4K. But that being said, with the overall situation, this is what I was talking about with UNR. They have the mental fortitude and capabilities of making sure they can do what they need to do. They don't need a 9-3 Lily to do that. Meanwhile, you have Endgame, who actually had a game and is doing 50% health damage to Frankie. Like, it's one of those things where they do have the abilities and the awareness to do what they need to do. They just need to believe in themselves that much.
Well, right now, I mean, I don't know if it was your speech, I don't know if it was their belief in them, but you definitely fired them up. I mean, you see the 9-3 and 6 Lilia, the 6-0 for Ezreal, who's finished in Mirror Mana. He's got the front of the Iceborne Gauntlet, so I just don't even know who's going to be able to get to Profit, let alone be able to eliminate him. Frankie G's not going to, I mean, you have the Galio to protect him, you have the Zillion to protect him. It was really unfortunate that I think just a little bit of chip damage from the Leona W is what broke the Zillion ult on himself. Otherwise, that might have been a kill onto cLoL, but Colorado State, they've done a decent job playing around it, but they're just never going to find a way to kill that Ezreal, I don't think. And that has been the reason they've not won a single fight, is Ezreal stayed alive on the backline.
Never say never ever. again, that goes back to what I've been talking about this entire day. But I see what you are saying, but it takes one slip-up, it takes one E-shift out of the way that he didn't mean to do, followed by a secondary layering of some kind of CC that allows the team to drop on him. It's going to boil down to pure aggression. Teleport is coming in, or it will boil down to this fight. GPL is going to find one. Lilia looking to jump on in. Sleeps are coming out. Solar Flare plus the Hextech ultimatum. Here comes the set. He's going to do as much as he can. Damage is coming out, but it is not there for Colorado State. Meanwhile, Nevada looking for more, and then some. Rudolph will sneak one out, be hit by the Eep. No ultimate to follow through, but the red buff will be enough. Curtain call called short after a single shot. That means that UNR will be able to take the Baron, however many resources you want to give them, whatever it takes to keep them in this series.
Yeah, once again, nobody found their way onto the Ezreal. All Rudolph could do is he could ult onto stunting, and at least he picked up one. I do like the disengage that time from Colorado State, not forcing the issue because of an ace there. Probably ends the game. They'll live to fight another day with the Baron now, crucial Baron on the side of Nevada, so that's probably a gone mid-inhibitor, but the Rams are fast. They might be able to grab this Mountain Dragon. If they can put themselves on Soul Point and get the Mountain Soul, they might be able to make it happen, but you're seeing teleports all around. This is going to be probably last fight, especially if Nevada wins.
Sure, absolutely. And the weird thing is we see no surrender timer. That being said, it looks like Kichi is going to be hit by the GPL and a singular bomb that will take a giant chunk out of his health, 50% being the closest number I can come up with. With the Baron, they are able to find themselves the second dragon of the game as UNR is looking for an opportunity here. But as far as I am concerned, I am 100% just all about this UNR team right now. It's almost like you have to yell at them for them to do something until they walk away from the Baron and decide, or sorry, from the Dragon and decide to push this mid. At that point, that'll give over the one Dragon exactly, so they are at Soul Point. You're going to lose an inhibitor in this process. You might even lose a Nexus Tower. Just kidding, we're gonna go top side.
Yeah, I was wondering if Colorado State just traded Soul Point for the game, but Nevada going to disengage. They're going to take the Tier 2 top tower. No reason why I think Colorado State should even bother defending it, but Frankie G potentially has other ideas. So I would like to see the Rams just disengage here. It's not worth it. Protect the inhibitor tower. You see there's the pink pack. Just give it up.
Just turtle it up, man. Just wait another minute 35. Try to stop the bleeding. It's one of those situations where you try to suture the wound, it may still bleed. Here comes the curtain call. Just try to push out whoever you can with the entirety of the team in that situation here. It looks like they will be able to stop this top tower from falling, so that is a little bit more than what they were expecting as far as that Baron push was concerned. They still got 60 seconds though, so they need to really stay in this area. The turtle up mantra, like we were talking about, is proving true here at all five on the top side.
Somebody's got to go mid to defend the supers. It's Blade Storm right now. That's going to open the turret.
It looks like damage is going to come out. Here comes the Hero's Entrance. Endpoint is able to drop everybody. A massive shot there is going to do some damage, but in comes the rest of Colorado State University. The ultimate is actually going to go down. Blue turret is going to follow through. It looks like Stunting is going to allow for that. The flash is out, but you are sleeping. Inhibitor top going to fall here in the meantime. CSU looking for any way out if they can do so. But right now, Nevada is poised to close this game. All they need to do is look at these Nexus turrets the wrong way. The Ezreal W will allow for them to chunk down more. Frankie G gonna be jumping in. He's gonna be locked down and turnabout. Here comes the hook shot. Here comes the Zenith, but it's not enough. Not even the turrets can help. They're going to find one on the side of CSU, but it is too little, too late. And apparently when they have a lead, they like to play the game. UNR going to find game number 2. See, I believe in you. Why the hell can't you do it?
Well, they believed in themselves enough to finish that game, and they're going to force us on to our game 3. There's winner take all here in the Mountain West Fall League of Legends Invitational, the second chance finals between Colorado State and Nevada. Winner not only gets to go play Boise State and seek revenge, as both these teams ate their only loss from the Broncos coming up on Saturday at 7 p.m., but they will also advance to the next round of this League of Legends Fall Invitational. Those conferences across the country having their own little tournaments. Top 2 teams advancing from each. Boise State's punched their ticket. Nevada and Colorado State now 1 game away. One team's punching their ticket, one team's going home. See, Colorado State had to do a little bit more work. Nevada made it all the way to the winter finals before dropping to Boise State, so they didn't have to play much here down in our second chance bracket. To see the Broncos there just waiting out for somebody. They've 2-0'd both of these teams, so you know they've got to be very confident that regardless of who they're going to be playing on Saturday, that they are going to hopefully wrap that up in 1 game. But as you see, if necessary, we would play 2. Since it's double elimination, you're not eliminated until you hit 2 losses. Right. And there's all of the information that you might have missed if you're just joining us for the first time this tournament. Best of 3, double elimination. Tuesdays and Saturdays were the matches. And Boise State, not only by the Mountain West, but also by the Bronco coaches, the 1 seed, as you see the logos from left to right in order of strength. Nevada, the 2 seed by the Mountain West and by the Boise State coaches. And the Rams falling in at number 4. So it's definitely going to be a very, very hard-fought game for Boise State no matter who wins this. But right now, Chizu, we've got to see if it can be Colorado State this time that can rally. I don't think they'll get any fiery speeches from you, or if it's Nevada who can make sure they keep their head in the game and are able to finish off Game 3.
They didn't surrender, so I have nothing to complain about. At least they tried. And that's what I was saying from the minute 1, is that, okay, so let's take a look at that Game 2, actually, and why it was kind of triggering, if we're going to go that route, is that, yeah, the goal differential was massive, but CSU stayed in to fight. UNR was not ahead a whole hell of a lot when they took what I would refer to as determining fight 2 and 3. They were only a couple hundred, not even 1,000 gold ahead before that game turned. So that's again, my fiery Game 1 speech hopefully did something, because at that point, it was a completely different team that I was seeing on the side of UNR. Any team, any day, CSU did not curl up and die until their nexus fell. If UNR can contain that momentum into this 3rd game, I like what I'm seeing. Finally, I'm starting to have those PTSD nightmares I was talking about that were oh so foreign in game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that the game number 2 goes back to, yes, the Lucian was banned, but there's got to be a middle ground between full-on carry and tank set. Because Frankie G on that tank set left little to be desired. I thought it was a wasted pick when it came through. I know it was a meta for a little bit. Riot did their best to try and nerf it down, and there's a reason why at the highest stages in the world we didn't see set played much else besides support, because you're just adding another support. You're putting yourself with another tank. Yes, they did everything they could to allow Kichi to carry, but unfortunately, Bladestorm couldn't get fed enough. I mean, let Frankie G carry. You put Bladestorm on a tank if you really were scared and wanted to go with a more tanky lineup. Don't put the man on tank set. I thought it was an absolute waste. He was bullied time and time again. He could never find any sort of advantage. Sure, he could ult some people, but he really couldn't do much more. So I would love to see Frankie G on at least something he can do damage on, not put him on this tank set. I know Boise State's put a scent on Nautilus, and it's worked out, but Frankie G was the reason you were in Game 1. He was the reason you got to about 15 minutes with a huge lead. So don't take the man off of a damage player.
Did you ignore the entirety of the map, Fish? Did you really ignore the top lane that, by the way, was a melee into a over-ranged melee matchup that actually went ahead? Did you miss the bottom side that absolutely eviscerated on the side of CSU? Yeah, it may have been the mid lane on the Lucian that absolutely opened up that game, but the rest of the team looked absolutely phenomenal, and then we didn't see that this side. Again, what I like is that when they are bleeding and hemorrhaging, CSU can stop it for not only 1, 2, maybe even 3 fights. But right now, UNR is looking good. They're running that momentum. But I cannot see either of these teams right now fall flat on their face as far as their internal mental game is concerned. You know what you're capable of. You know what you're available with. It's not going to matter the champions. It's going to matter how you play this map, in my opinion.
It is going to be interesting. I know I heard production say something in my ear, but your passionate speech, Adam, unfortunately drowned them out. So I don't know if they were suggesting a break or something.
I don't know, but apparently my soapboxes are not acceptable. So I'm just going to say good luck to both of these teams. I hope we get a full 20 minutes plus out of both of these, or the next game.
It's going to be interesting. Like we said, there's a lot on the line here. Not only is it a chance at Boise State, it's a guaranteed spot in the next round of the Invitational. One team gets to keep playing. One team's got to find new tournaments to go towards.
Sure.
Anything you want to add?
Right. I hope both teams have fun.
They're playing League of Legends, Jizu. That is impossible.
Yes, that is actually is the best argument you could have, either side. No, at this point, you don't want passion, you don't want one-liners, so good luck on either side. Because at this point, I saw things of promise. I saw things of absolute disappointment. And either way, I hope either one of these teams finds a way to recollect themselves, and I hope UNR can continue to run the momentum. I hope CSU can find what they had in game number 1.
Well, there's the Vladimir ban. It's been a very still long staple. There's a Misfortune ban from Nevada, as you mentioned. Not something that's very meta right now, but it's something the Wolfpack don't want to see. I'd have to think Lucian and Samir would probably be the follow-ups for them, and for Colorado State, probably Lilia. Graves might be the ban away. There's the Graves, at least, to kick things off.
Oh yeah, there's the Samira that they got rid of, the ADC they got rid of, and a bunch of bans that we had in the last 2 games. So that's pretty cool.
Anything for the last ban? Any predictions, Chizu?
You know what? Go ahead and get rid of Teemo, because that seems to be as efficient as either one of these big bans.
Ezreal, probably would have preferred that to be a Lilia. I'll be honest. There's the Lucian. True. So, I mean, if Colorado State doesn't first pick Lilia, they're probably in for a world of hurt. There it is.
I mean, again, we'll see what happens. At this point, it doesn't matter what kind of a lead you have. If you're not 1,000% ahead, UNR will fold to 20 minutes. And if you're CSU, you'll fight until you don't have a chance.
Well, I'll be curious to see what kind of chance they stand here in Game 3 with the Lilia. I know it was Nevada who banned it in Game 1. Nevada left it up for Obvi in Game 2. And now they're going to go back on the Jhin in Game 3. So Jhin 100% pick rate so far this series. Interesting to see. I don't think Prophet had the best game on the Jhin, but I'd be curious if DJ Kush wants to run it back with the Blitzcrank, because it has not been banned by Nevada.
I mean, and again, it's one of those things where you're going to get rid of one of the strongest individuals. 3 ADCs if you really want to go into it. But as far as these 2 teams are concerned, CSU says, anything you can do, I can do it. They're going to throw a Kindred into it. I do like that early pull, as well as the Jhin being able to pull the spread, basically. He doesn't even have to be in the fight to do something effective.
Yeah, I mean, it was Prophet that sort of, along with Avi, dragged Nevada to that victory. I mean, Prophet never even died. No one really could even get to him on that. Ezreal going to have a little bit of a harder time here on that Jhin, not as mobile. There's the Ashe lock in for Colorado State, and I don't see any reason why you don't pick Blitzcrank here. I really don't see any reason why you don't just slam down that Blitzcrank, make them counter you, because Jhin, he's not going to have anywhere to go, and Kindred's going to have to full commit if your Jhin gets hooked in to keep him alive with the ultimate.
Yeah, and again, I love the hook champions. You can even go the opposite. There's that Blitzcrank. Never mind. I was going to say, grab the Thresh if you're not feeling it. But Blitzcrank, you know what? We saw how many times he hit those hooks. I wanted to counter. I want to see it again.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to, right? I mean, you banned the Ezreal. I really don't think they had an issue bringing it back in game number 2, but I guess they were worried Nevada was going to counter it. Last pick for the Wolfpack. Be very curious what they want to bring out here. Probably just a support, I would think.
We'll see. Yeah, there's the Leona that we were talking about earlier, and we'll see what happens. Again, I really have no point at this situation, because I have no idea what either of these teams are fully capable of. Whether they're 5,000 gold ahead, it can turn on its head like an hourglass.
Got banned for Nevada. Okay, I guess maybe you go Singed here in your second one and you just totally try and eliminate Bladestorm, but I don't see any reason why he can't just pick up the Shen. Colorado State really wasn't. I guess maybe the Camellia you could ban away. I thought Endpoint played it decently well, but there's really not any huge bans I think that they could see. Maybe Orange just to get him off the table. Orange's pretty powerful. I know they've been targeting Pantheon, but he has been picked, his support has been picked. There's the Zillion. Colorado State's banned somebody, so they're pretty sus right now.
I mean, can we not? This is not Among Us, League of Legends. But that being said, the Zillion ban was actually massive. I think it was 3 times at least that we had on map, on screen, in which a very clutch 3v1 situation turns into a 1-for-0 situation, you know what I mean? In which, as you're going down, you're not even able to get that second shot off, or just the ignite for that matter. So I feel like the Zillion ban, probably not a terrible idea. The Stinge removal there, and Silas going to be the final ones. Again, at this point, just go ahead and throw everything into the fan and seize what jumps back right into your face. because at this point, you are going home or you're going on to the next round. As Captain Falcon once said, show me your moves.
I was just seeing how you're going to fit Falcon Punch in, but maybe that's just how I play Captain Falcon. If he's not saying that, I'm clearly not playing. But wrong game, then we'll have to hit that back on a different time. I was going to be interesting to see the Silas ban over Camille. I think I would have rather taken Camille. There's the Malphite pick. Sure. We've seen Boise State play it pretty well. Probably just said, hey, Camille, you're not going to have any fun in that matchup. And so maybe that's why they banned the Silas way, because Silas is a huge Malphite counter. Now we get a mid laner from each team, and I'll be really curious what Colorado State wants to blind pick in, and I know if it's set. Oh, man.
At this point, let's go. I like the Jay Sereno, dude. I love getting shot in the face for 100% damage by a guy who's not even on the screen. It is beautiful and actually fills the bill as far as CSU is concerned.
There's the rumble from Nevada. It was... It was okay.
Take everything I said, change it to the other side.
Hey, you know what? He's got to be worried about DJ Kush, who roamed in, as you said, game 1 at minute 30 and just absolutely annihilated Skull Chaos, got him to 50% right away. So it's all going to be on DJ Kush, I think. That would be my early prediction. Whatever, if he lands hooks, Colorado State's moving on. If he starts whiffing, Colorado State falls behind, and with Blitzcrank, much like Leona, you've got to start fights. You can't really sort of support your team. Then I think it's going to be Nevada's game. But let's bring Glovely on now. He's getting overtime work here, as we haven't seen any Game 3s from Boise State, but that's not who we're watching. We're watching Colorado State and Nevada. Second chance finals. Winner goes on to play at Boise State and gets an invitation to the remainder of this Fall League of Legends Invitational. The loser goes home and has to find another tournament to play on. So Glovely heading into game number 3. What are you seeing?
My immediate thought is to look at this Malphite. We've had multiple games now where one of the teams has had a full AD composition, and only now is when the premier armor tank of the league is finally getting put into play. And of course, there's a rumble being picked into him. So, bit of a rough situation there, but hey, still a really good champion. Still cancels out a lot of the damage coming from the side of the Wolfpack. So I think that's a particularly good champion to pick up in this scenario. The Jace was, of course, mentioned. That's a great champion in terms of his ability to poke, of course, from a very long range. But to me, it also fits very well into this composition that the Rams have drafted. What they've got is a very long-range engagement composition with the Ash Arrow, with the Blitz Hook. They have a lot of ability to pick off a target from a really long way. Which will enable the rest of their team to then follow up on top of that. They've got a very, very long range of basically, we're going to start this fight here. And to me, that's really important in these final matches, because in the opposition, who's going to start your fight? Leona? Yes. And then who's going to be able to follow up on that? There's a lot of danger of getting picked off here for the Wolfpack, so I really like what the Rams have drafted.
Hey, Glovely, can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
How do you feel about surrenders? I'm just kidding. But I really agree with you 100% on that whole situation. Do you think UNR has the mental stability based off of game number 2 to make it to game 3 as a victor?
I think at this point, we're in game 3. Whatever happened in game 1 and 2, we could pretty much just wipe that off the map, because game 1, yeah, there was a really rough game. But you come back in game 2, you completely push off any problems that would have caused for your morale just completely off the map. It's game 3. It's a fresh game. It's a fresh mindset.
Well, I do want to revisit game 1, not in from what Adam was talking about, but the Blitzcrank play that we saw from DJ Kush. That absolutely carried Colorado State. I mean, he even said, let's get a Blitzcrank hook counter, because he wasn't missing. There's no Ezreal. It was banned away. Can Nevada Glovely withstand another excellent game from DJ Kush, or if he starts hooking rocket grabs, is it game over?
There is some danger in the Blitzcrank that you really need to have the advantage going in. Blitzcrank does not disengage well, and when your team is behind and can't blow up a target that he manages to get a hold of, he really falls off as a champion and kind of just becomes a hindrance to your team, doesn't really provide anything to support you with. One of the dangers that they're up against is that the lane opponent he's facing is a Leona. If he manages to hook that Leona instead of the Jhin, he's going to have a lot harder time getting through all those layers of armor and magic resist than he would get through any of the other members of the team. But I also think it's important to note that he really hard counters the the Kindred. You drop that Lamb's Respite, it does allow you to survive a lot of the potential burst damage from the side of the Rams, but Blitzcrank can just hook you out of it, pull you away. You no longer have that protection, and suddenly you're down a jungler during an important objective fight.
Well, Glovely, I'm just going to take Fish's playbook here real quick because I want to know who takes game number 3.
I really like the Rams in this scenario. I think this engagement potential is going to push them above and beyond.
I don't want to say anything about you, Glovely, but Nevada fans, you can rejoice because Glovely's 0-2 right now. That's all I want to say. Nothing against Glovely, but Nevada he's 0-2. He went Nevada game 1. We had it's Colorado State in game number 2, and he was wrong. So I hope Glovely's right. I want to see Colorado State win, and I want Glovely to go out on a high note, but he's been picking losers, unfortunately, so we'll see if that flips around, but I think it's all on DJ Kush.
30 seconds until
Listen, we'll see what happens. Again, game number 3, both of these two have been absolute powder kegs of, hey, how are you? But the Goon Squad is here. Well, Flash going to be expended. Rocket Grab, not going to hit.
Maybe if he can revisit Skull Chaos at 130, it's worth it. Nice little ward kill there as well. Get a little bit of extra experience in a CS.
Ward for ward. It's like bodies, right? They're worth 10 gold, 15 gold, 30 gold, depending on where you go. Hey, hooray.
Surprised Prophet didn't run the cleanse, by the way. I thought he would definitely have it. Maybe you see a Mikhail's rush from stunting, but
I think he likes the movement speed, to be honest.
But
like, just watching him as a player, he likes to get
true.
on in. If he's not using it as like a health heal situation, that movement speed is kind of the other 50% of that coin. And so it allows you to get in and out, I guess.
gotta dodge the Ash arrows, though. Can't move if an Ash arrow hits you.
Right, exactly.
So, I mean,
But
he's...
again,
personal preference. Every time I'm like, I should run cleanse, I'm like, no, I want heal because I don't want to die. So, you know.
it's like when you're playing support, you're like, do I go exhaust? Do I go ignite? Do I want to steal kills because my ADC is incompetent in solo queue? Or do I want to play with Fish so I can take exhaust? Like, it's one of those two situations.
It's always ignite, man. I might be playing support, but I'm taking the kill.
I'm taking it. It's mine.
It's my lane.
And then some. This is why we get along so well.
Now, I will say, I know Glovely mentioned the Leona. You hook her early, especially if you can get the level 2 first. She's not going to have to play stun.
Hook shot is going to come in, and it looks like a little bit of damage coming out here from Endpoint. A rocket punch up towards the top is going to make sure that stunting is stunted his growth. And there's that grab we were talking about. DJ Kush says, hey, how are you? And is also going to expend the ignite. Meanwhile, hook shot, Endpoint, as well as Blade Storm. Malphite not as strong at level 1, but is able to get on out. A curious exchange of aggro on either side. Nevada wins top Colorado State bot.
Ignite Flash heal on cooldown for the Colorado State bot lane. Still just that Ignite and Flash on cooldown for DJ Kush. You see a little bit of damage going back and forth. Rudolph down there, but unfortunately he's not going to find anything, so he's going to have to return to base.
It's one of those things where it's like, hey, I'm here. When you're playing grab supports, if your jungle just sits in that bush and is not found out, all you have to do is get one solid grab. He's coming on in, and you're probably fine. I don't think they had eyes on the opposing jungle, so it would have been a little bit scarier, but with the positioning that they were in, that back bait is one thing, but the aggression coming out here from Frankie G, he's going to bop away Skull Crusher, and the damage coming on out with a great flash. The Skull Crusher going to take a serious amount of damage, but not enough, as Frankie G is not long for this world. First blood coming down, Rocket Punch is going to come through, then it's late to follow. Prophet going to find the second one. UNR has found a leg up. Apparently, the secret strat is just the surrender game number 1, so you can find your mental and physical bearings for game number 2 and 3. 1 and 3 in favor of UNR overall.
Nice job by Kichi, picking up at least one as a make good kill there. I don't really think, unfortunately, they're going to find much in the top lane, as Rudolph is just sitting right on top of a ward, so he'll go to his own blue buff. And Really, Obvi's done a great job of stabilizing Nevada in the early game. Great gank to bail out skolchaos, who was losing in that fight and had overheated once again, not on the flame spitter. So if he's not there, it's probably Jace first blood, and it's a different game. But Obvi doing a really, really good job. I know from talking to the Boise State team and from hearing from some of their thoughts that he's definitely one of the stronger junglers in this tournament that isn't Ethug. So he's doing a really good job proving why he deserves a rematch against Ethug.
He's not ours, but he's pretty damn good, says BSU as they sit atop of the champion's chair. But again, it's 1-3. The gold differential actually looks better this time on the side of Nevada. We talked about in game number 2. They had multiple full team wipes and still just weren't able to recover those resources, but they were able to smack the game down at around 25-30 minutes. So we'll see if that's the case here as we go in game number 3, 5-minute mark. Nothing too crazy. Again, 2 kills is hardly GG at this point. 1,000 gold does not feel great though.
Nice. That ward in the top side for Endpoint has been absolutely huge. He doesn't even have one there, actually, as it has been pinked out, but he was able to see the Jace, be able to fall back, and that's twice now that Endpoint has taken resources away from Colorado State. They haven't got anything for it. He's staying alive. He's going to jump onto Bladestorm.
Oh, man. The hook shot in. It's one of those situations where you run the Jace. Jace has one of those, I don't want to say problems, but situational disadvantages where do you put him? You put him in the mid lane, you're looking to rotate. You put him in the top lane, he's still looking to kind of rotate if he's not winning his lane. But it looks like the warp gate is going to come out. The hammer is also going to do some damage. A trade of damage here in the mid lane will spell 50% for both of these mid laners, but in comes the shot. The equalizer to follow. Frankie G looking for fancy feet is also given an opportunity here. Hammer and plus the damage, Frankie G. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, it looks like instead a teleport coming down. Malphite looking for something. He's not quite level 6. Counter teleport to follow. This turned into a 3v3 into a 3v4 because here comes the Camille. Endpoint going to find one. Hextech Ultimatum is going to lock down Bladestorm, and then there's going to be a double there for the side of UNR. The power shot coming through, but it barely does so much as a tickle, and Nevada has yet another advantage with all summoners burned on all facets.
Yeah, great job rotating down by Bladestorm and Endpoint. Picked up at least 1 kill for both of their teams. But once again, Obvi just being able to show up for his team, give them the advantage. And now he's going to turn that into the first time we're going to see Nevada get a first dragon all game. They're going to pick up the Ocean Drake here. I'll be curious to see. Looks like it's Infernal next. We're either going to get Mountain or Cloud as our soul this game. Probably Mountain's going to be the most impactful. I know I love Cloud Drake. I know I love to meme about it, but in the overall grand scheme of things, it's at best.
No, come on, man. More ultimates by 10 seconds or something like that. As far as everything else is concerned, you just get a little tankier with the whole Mountain thing. It's not nearly as exciting.
I agree it's not as exciting, but, yeah. Jace probably does not care about how short his ultimate cooldown is.
Yeah, but that being said, Malphite teleports down with a, I believe it was level 5. Is he 6 now? Okay, I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look. I thought he teleported down there at level 5, like he could do something. Okay, cool. Because I don't think he could have done much of anything. That's the whole teleport differential when it comes to Malphite, is you really need to have that level 6, or you don't do anything other than throw a small rock and go, the whole time.
That was a great Malphite impression.
Hookshot is going to come in here from the top side. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, it looks like Frankie G is not willing to just fall unrelenting. But the jungle here is not necessarily going to be needed as skolchaos finds that 2v1 that Frankie decided to take on his own. The question mark ping is probably coming out pretty strong. Here comes the equalizer and sleepy time for the mid laner for Nevada. But nothing going to come as far as CSU is concerned. A hookshot is going to come in, but it looks like Endpoint was just saying, hey, how are you?
Yeah, that is why we have put so much emphasis on when you overheat, you should overheat on Flame Spitter, because that's exactly what skolchaos did. Frankie G ate the entire duration, and that was the difference in that fight where skolchaos barely lived, as you mentioned. Obvi was there, probably could have saved him with the ult if he needed to, but he doesn't take that full Flame Splitter. Frankie G probably picks that one up. So good job by skolchaos, first time I've seen him in a while. Actually overheat on the Flame Spitter, and it results in a kill.
Rudolph feeling that early game Liliana garbage that I was talking about. Just throwing it out there, but I also wish I had pens right now to like draw on the screen, because you see where endpoint is standing, so just take yourself like 90 degrees to the right. That wall right there, that sweet spot, is beautiful for the Camille, and she's absolutely been able to zone out this Malphite every way, shape, and form that she could need, simply from that spot that's now currently exactly east of her, and we saw her hit it probably 2 or 3 times in a single fight. So right now, Malphite not feeling super great despite being level 7. Camille already 2-0, feeling great. Your Jhin is already 2-0. That feels pretty awesome. And you know, your mid lane 2-1 feels pretty damn good here at nearly 9.5 minutes into this game. Again, CSU could find a way back into this. It needs to be methodical. They need to find it over a big objective. And by big, you know what? I'll even add color-coded buffs to that. But it looks like we are going to have a fight here in the mid lane. Frankie G looking for something here as Rudolph is going to find his way on in. Equalizer does come out. The Q is there, but a beautiful flash! Are you absolutely kidding me? Over the wall, the double kill comes through, and the Kindred's going to find yet another as Rudolph given the double. As DJ Kush gonna clear out a ward and watch his opponent or his ally go bye. Here comes the bottom side as the rotation from Colorado State is not there in time.
Now, Avi doing a great job. He was already stealing away Rudolph's blue, so he was in perfect position. He's got the Rift Herald as well. No, never mind, he doesn't. Looked like he did. I swore his hands were purple there, but never mind, that's not the case.
DJ Kush looking for something. He's going to get the pop, the hook, a flash out there from Avi. Here comes the Jace. The Requiem, or not Requiem, I'm sorry, Respite going to come on through. That is going to be enough to heal. And the GTFO. Beautiful Zenith Blade. That's an Adam Zenith Blade. You're going to die for it. Never mind, you're better than me. So they continue to push that lane. Anytime I do that, it's over. But here comes the Solar Flare. Does not land. Curtain call to follow. Meanwhile, top side, nothing too crazy going on. And oh my goodness, Kichi almost died by showing back up in the lane.
Nice. They did get the heal from Prophet. Gank immediately eliminating the Camille. Nice unstoppable force from Bladestorm there. By the way, he did drop the Rift Herald. When the camera must have zoomed away, he dropped it. That's why the hands weren't purple when we came back, because I did see him get the 320 gold as he ran away. So I was not seeing crazy, and I definitely knew it wasn't a Lich Bane Kindred. So good job by Avi starting to control some of the jungle objectives this game, and starting to give Nevada a big reason why they're up nearly 3K gold here at 11 minutes. And then you see, once again, he's at 5,500 gold. Nobody else is even in the neighborhood. He is 1,200 gold ahead of the next closest player who's on his team, by the way.
It feels pretty good, man. Again, this is the situation that I was talking about beforehand. You can get to this point even from behind. While the resources may not be there, you can still do something with it. You mean to tell me right now at a 2,000 gold deficit, they couldn't do this in game number 1? I disagree. 100% disagree. So that's what I was talking about there as they find another opportunity. Rudolph is going to be found out. Nice Q, JK, LOL. Enjoy the body bag.
The jungle for Colorado State now belongs to Nevada. You see there's very limited vision for the Rams. And this has been a thorn in their side every single game, as we see there. Looks like they're going to trade Dragon for a top lane plate or 2, just one top lane plate.
Oh, here comes the Hextech Ultimatum here. The top side is going to have some damage, but in comes DJ Kush. Cloud has quickened, but they are going to find one here in the mid lane, stopping the hemorrhaging that is currently going on throughout the map. Meanwhile, Kichi's like, I would love to survive. A flash out to the other side. Zenith Blade plus the slow from Jhin is not going to matter. A lot of damage coming from the tower, but Ovi should be able to get on out. But here comes the beep, the boop, the bop, the solar flare to Zenith, to Q, to slow, but Frankie G is able to capitalize on that situation. The rest of the crew from the side of Colorado State has decided to give every single one of the resources to the bot side. Says, Bladestorm, you're all on your own, baby, against Endgame as they continue to wait on out. But this is 100 million trillion % what I was talking about. Take 13 minutes of this game compared to the last 13 minutes of another game. Rudolph going on in. He's going to get the stun. Equalizer is going to come out. The pull is good, but the rest of Nevada is there. A 2 for 2. The question becomes, how much did it mean to you as you lose your faith, yourself, and possibly the next dragon?
Good news for Colorado State. I don't think this cloud's going to come back up. And the other good news is you see Bladestorm's pushing, but Kichi's going to get caught out there.
Oh, the burn, it hurts. Oh my god, why are you teleporting mid lane? He's already dead! That's another one. Put him. You're at half health! You are at half health!
He's gone. He's gone. I mean, my reaction was similar. I mean, you can see how low the top turret is. I think he might have been able to pull off first turret for Colorado State, but as Adam mentioned while he stormed off, that was a waste of teleport.
You're at 50%! You are at 50%! What are you going to do against two people who absolutely eviscerated your teammate? You're like, I'm coming! Woo! If it was behind the line, if you weren't literally putting yourself behind the enemy line, it might be okay. But, too little too late communication from CSU falling through super hard. Sorry, I had to go, like, goose blah blah for like 20 seconds. You cannot be making those mistakes if you're CSU. You're already behind, even with an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see how low that top turret was. He might have had a chance to get first turret. He's gonna get caught.
Well, let's see what happens. Hey, endpoint picks up the Malphite. That's weird.
Yeah,
That's weird.
Colorado State is not safe in their own jungle right now. They are gonna find stunting though.
Oh! Stunting gonna take us a little sleepy time. Meanwhile, Avi is there to say, great, I notice we're all taking naps, but my damage not gonna help you sleep at night. It's like anti-Ambien. It's an Adderall to your system. Just kidding. I will put you down for the final sleep like you did with your dog in 6th grade that you never got over.
That was deep. That went 0 to 100 real quick.
I miss my dog.
Don't we all?
But Kirk,
Don't we all?
Kirk Call gonna come out. Not a whole lot of damage either way, but right now we talked about hemorrhaging. That's the word of the day. Go ahead and give your. It is a 5,000 gold lead for Nevada. I guarantee you they're not gonna surrender this one.
You'd be hard-pressed to think the Rams would. This is their tournament life on the line, but they've got to find a way, one, to stop getting caught. They've got to find a way to, this time, shut down Obvi, who once again is doing a phenomenal job in the jungle there on that Kindred. 9-0-5, 700 gold. Bouncy on his head. Skull Chaos having a little bit better time than he had in game 1. He's 4-3-6 with 150 gold bounty on that Rumble as well. So for Colorado State, they can give a dragon here. That's about all I can say. They probably cannot fight. You can see the level differential. Not favored in anything. About the only thing I can say positively.
They should just surrender.
I don't know about that.
Not in 5,000, right? 4 or 5? Yeah, that's about 5,000.
It's near on 6, yeah.
That's all I'm saying is that UNR are making me eat a whole giant-ass plate load of crow at this point in time, because right now here comes Frankie G looking on the top side, but I did not anticipate this turn of aggression. Rudolph is like, I'm here. Just kidding. Santa ain't delivering no presents. I'ma go sleepy permanently, as he just decides to show up in lane and gets burned down by the equalizer alone. Blade Storm. Well, you were tanky at one point. Dark Seal not necessarily coming in, and that's another thing. How many Dark Seals do you need on a team before they're not worth it?
That's a great question. I mean, I understand the Dark Seal early for the Malphite. AP scaling abilities lets you heal from the potion in the lane. You're going to take a lot of poke. See, the Ash Arrow came out.
I can't even cast that. It's just a giant punch you in the face fest. Hey, look at that. Malphite got a kill. Sleepy time teleport coming in. Frankie G looking for a double. Going to find it. And Lilia going to clean that one up. A 4-for-1 exchange. Oh my god. Colorado State, you have a pulse. Wait, hold on. You have a heartbeat. You have an opportunity to climb yourself back into this game, but it is minuscule at best, as it looks like right now they are given the floodgates. Where they decide to flow is the question.
Well, they're going to get that first Cloud Drake. The champion that probably wants it the most. It's Ash and Malphite, especially on this Colorado State team. You're going to get more Ash Arrows, you're going to get more Unstoppable Forces, and you're going to allow yourself more sleeps as well. DJ Kush and Endpoint right next to each other. Going to get the hook over the wall.
Nice hook! Endpoint, though, is able to just be like, nice, you pulled me to you. Now I don't have to use hook shot. Guess what happens next? Hook shot.
I don't even know if Endpoint or if Bladestorm and DJ Kush could have killed him, honestly.
Right.
I actually don't think. I think he could have easily stayed and potentially won that, especially since the fact that the Unstoppable Force is on cooldown. I'm not sure if he knows that or not, but if he knew that, he probably wins that 2-for-1, and Colorado State threw away everything they just did bot side. But luckily for them, they hook shots away.
My comments are starting to make it into the chat because it appears that CSU just took their second dose of Ambien and Adderall, and I don't know entirely what that means. They're either going to fall asleep or they're going to finish their term paper on time, and right now it looks like the fall asleep method. 4,000 gold difference between these two teams, and Colorado State has absolutely needed those advantages. We saw Nevada not only be behind by about 1,000, but absolutely exponentially exploit the entirety of Colorado State University with plays like these. Avi plus the rest of the crew. You're a support, but you want to go in. Here comes the equalizer. Have a nice time falling asleep. The enchanted Crusader is going to come through, but Avi says, DJ Kush, take a little nappy on the other end of the spectrum as Endgame and the rest of the crew are here. Ultimate from Malphite finds 2! Here comes the Hextech Ultimatum. The double kill is there. They thought they had the world. They end up with nothing. And UNR goes 3-4-3. Kichi finds Endpoint. And now the question becomes, who is still standing after this? It comes out to the respite. Who heals? Who falls? Avi gonna find that one. Gonna find the seconds. Get out my game. They have everything they need and then some.
It was a really weird engage from Colorado State. DJ Kush went in, Bladestorm ran away, thought they were going to try and ult. I guess maybe they thought they had baited out the Lambs respite, and that's why they full disengaged. Once again, it's just another thing we saw from Game 2, where it's Colorado State, hey, you got a 3-for-3 when you were down 4,000 gold. That's great. Just take it. Just walk away. But they get tempted by the low health bars. They go right back in, and they feed the ace away. So I've got to say, Colorado State's just got to be a little bit more safe with some of these plays and not throw away leads or at least trades that are favorable for them.
Well, that's what we saw in round number 1 and then kind of bleed into round number 2. They're going to bait out this Baron, so I don't in any way, shape, or form agree with 3 people taking Baron, especially when you're this far behind 6,000 on my quick math. Here comes Endpoint. He's not going to allow for Frankie G to get on out. Hookshot does come through, plus the flash. Oh my goodness, that is a huge equalizer. Bladestorm having to use the ultimate to get on out. You have an Ash volley to follow and allow for you to escape. Woo! But congratulations, you just gave over a 50% Baron to UNR. Follow the scale. Bet you know which way I'm leaning.
Yeah, that Baron was interesting, especially with Frankie G. No teleport in the bot side. They're not even going to contest that one. Now they're going to come back.
Here. Everyone's coming on in, dude. This is a huge fight. Xenoblade is going to come on in, and it does look like UNR is going to lose one as Frankie G falls. But the Ash arrows, the volley, the slow, double, he'll give him more, as it looks like he's going to follow on through. And Colorado State may have lost 1 on the bottom side. They'll lose 2 in the team fight, but they will find 4 in the overall of 3-4-4. Meanwhile, Endpoint's like, cool, I'm just going to push this bottom lane until one of y'all stop me. But there's nobody who can. Blitzcrank is back. He's trying to find something. Camille will push that way and be given free agency as far as the rest of this map is concerned. You can call it lopsided. You can call it even. Either way, both of these teams are grasping at anything they can find and driving it to the hole. Whether it be the Baron calls, whether it be the lane pushes, they are committing to everything, and I love it. This is what I wanted from Game 1. This is what I wanted from Game 2, and I'm getting it in Game 3, and it feels so good.
Yeah, that was a crazy call to re-engage there by Colorado State. I was not expecting it to work as well as it did, but unfortunately for them, as you mentioned, Endpoint's going to survive. He's going to still have the Baron to split push whatever lane, and we clearly saw he can solo Frankie G, which probably means he can 1v1 anyone in the game, so good luck stopping Endpoint while that Baron's still up.
Power shot is coming through, and a great hook there is going to allow for Colorado State, but the Eep does not find anything. Bladestorm is looking for something. The Ash ult is coming through. Rudolph going to be accredited with that one, but they are going to find one on the other side. Skull Chaos going to find it. Avi has that one. The rest of CSU jumping on in, but the slowed arrows are oh so beautiful. Give him the double.
and a third find there by Rudolph. CSU may have been behind this entire game, but OMFG have they found themselves a fight here at 23 minutes. They will lose this top turret. They will find themselves a dragon to equalize, so you'll be the judge as to who walked away with that victory.
Well, the dragon's not dead yet. There's no teleport, so I won't be too concerned. There goes the dragon. So yeah, I would say Colorado State fans will take that trade every single time. Ash Smurf's coming out in the chat.
Yeah, dude!
I mean,
every single time, man.
He baited him in. He's 6'6" and 12, but you would not think that of how well he has been playing these last few fights. He's one of the lone bright spots on Colorado State. For Nevada, you've still got a near 7K gold lead. That's got to be at least something, but right now, yeah, Ash Smurf confirmed at this point.
It's one of those things where, like, I'm like, Ash, Season 2, Season 3, yeah, she's a staple. Like, here we are, Season 10, right? Is that where we're at now? Oh, never mind, doesn't matter. It looks like Endgame is going to jump in here. Oh my god, what a chunk of damage off of that empowered W auto. But she's strong, man. She'll block you in. She'll drop you a hook shot into it. Hextech ultimatum. But here comes the rest of Colorado State. Now this Lilia does have a leg to stand on. 4 of them, in fact. She is 11, 7, and 8. The early part of this game, she was literally non-existent. But the Eeps are coming out. The sleep's not even being expended. Oh boy, but that is going to be a lot of damage coming on in. The flank is there. The Kindred is in. Equalizer going to cut off the way of escape as Prophet is going to find DJ Kush. Nice stopwatch. Where did you buy it? Was it K's? I'm not so sure, as it looks like Nevada, UNR, going to continue down. They're going to find a middle inhibitor too, or sorry, middle turret too, and an inhibitor turret probably to follow, as well as an inhibitor if they want it. That was the inhibitor too I was looking for about 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, that Ash quickly learned that despite how well he's been playing the last few fights, you can't 1v1 Obby. Obby basically said, you exist? No, you don't. 16 and 3 on the Kindred. Basically fully built, just a control ward blocking the rest of the inventory, but I'm sure whenever he gets that last item he is pining for, GA or whatever it is, he will have it in his possession. As you see, 15K on the Kindred, and it's not even close. It's a 4K lead on everybody. 4K on literally everybody. He's half the goal difference.
And again, that's why I'm so just upset by the early surrender in game number 1. You mean to tell me in the next 5 to 7 minutes you couldn't have learned something? You may not have needed it, but think about that. Just really, I don't care who you are. If you are a collegiate team, a solo queue team, a damn professional team which somehow managed to stumble on this stream, there is no reason to surrender a game, especially when your team looks like this, running it back in the reverse sweep. Don't disrespect the other teams like that, because you look damn good right now.
I don't think any team is going to be opting for a surrender in this game. Last Whisper
sure,
actually
this
got
game.
no choice.
You said that in the first game too.
Well, you know, I guess whatever they did, the mental break they took, you have to say it worked out, right? I mean, they have looked unstoppable since game 1.
It was a campfire. They busted out an acoustic guitar. Kumbaya, my lord. And then they won themselves the next game. Here they are on the cusp of winning another. Again, don't cut yourself short in experience, you know? As it looks like Endpoint going to be jumping on in here against Bladestrom. The Hextech ultimatum coming on out. Guess where you're going? The answer is nowhere. As Bladestrom trying to jump back out, using the wall to jump back in. I don't know what that ward was really going to do for you, but... Oh, sorry, that was a red ward. Sorry. As it is going to give vision of Bladestrom there. I thought it was a blue ward. I'm like, that was teleporting to you, buddy. You're the one with the TP. But it looks like, as I speak of it, a teleport coming in by the blue side, prior Baron. This will allow for 5 individuals here to push down the Baron. You can try. There's a 50-50 here. Maybe Blitz Hook is not going to land. Equalizer is going to come out. They peel a little bit off, but Red Team is going to find the Baron. They're going to find the Lilia. They're going to lose yet another, but Blitzcrank is going to find the Camille. Flash is burned out. Bladestrom, stop teleporting in the middle of C5!
Especially with the unstoppable force on cooldown. There was nothing he was going to do there. And that's probably game, honestly. The ace, There's Superman. Yeah, this is game. Nevada's going to come back. Rally speech, whatever it was, the Wolfpack looked unstoppable after game 1, and they're going to punch their ticket not only to the grand finals on Saturday night against Boise State at 7 p.m., they're going to punch their ticket to the next round of the Fall Invitational. So a huge shout out to Nevada. No matter what went wrong in game 1, you have to respect what they did in game 2 and 3. So we will see a rematch of the winners final. We'll see the two best teams in the Mountain West, seeded 1 and 2, Boise State and Nevada respectively, going at it this Saturday. Winners Grand Finals. Nevada's got to win 2 series. Boise State only has to win 1. The Broncos 2-0ing the Wolfpack has to make you think, if you're a Broncos fan, that you have to be confident going into Saturday, but only time will tell.
They're reminding me of the nightmares I was previously talking about. Again, I'm glad they won the next 2. Sure. It does not wipe the taste from my mouth the way that they just rolled over and died in game number 1. Guess what? You could have saved yourself 30 minutes by finishing game number 1. Anyways, that's what I'm getting at. I love the fact that UNR is reminding me of the power and prowess they had years prior. And again, it's unfortunate to see CSU drop. I'd love to have seen that rotate back in through bodying the individuals that put them in a body bag, for lack of a better term. But I just, again, to wipe the taste from my mouth, I am glad that they were able to 0-2 that, because if they would have just lost, I don't know. And that's what I was talking about from minute bleeping 1.
Yeah, I definitely think that Colorado State had some questionable plays. I mean, they telegraphed that Malphite pick by banning the Silas, who is a hard counter to Malphite. They were saying, we're picking Malphite no matter what is picked by Nevada. Nevada locked in the Camille, and Endpoint absolutely had his way with Bladestorm in the top lane. So I think there was 2 bad picks that derailed Colorado State, but I don't think you can question that Nevada, probably the more talented team, as we saw there, just absolutely putting their foot down. Avi played incredibly well in that series, especially in games 2 and 3. So we take a look at how the bracket will resolve. It'll be Boise State and Nevada once again, or as they're known now, the winner of 15, coming up October 24th at 7 p.m. So the Broncos are undefeated. They only need to win 1 game. Nevada's got to win 2 best-of-3s, as the team's not eliminated until they hit 2 losses, whether you like it or not. That's how double elimination brackets work. I think it's fantastic, because I hate when a team comes from the loser's bracket, they win the championship once, and then they say, oh, hey, we've won. Kind of like how NA designs their playoffs, but we'll save that for a different day as well. Right now, I'm excited to see how Nevada and Boise State are going to go at it on Saturday, and I'm really excited to see if Nevada is going to make it a multi-series match.
You're an NA player. Stop crapping on us, Fish. Anyways, that being
it's just awful design, man. You can't come from the losers bracket and then qualify for Worlds, go 0-6, and other teams had to lose only once. It's just absolutely awful.
All right, you ready,
I don't want to get on this. I don't want to get on this. I've already taken you down there. We've got to focus on NA collegiate esports, Chizu. We've gone on this way too many times off stream. So let's go back. It's Boise State, Nevada. It's the run back on Saturday. It's going to be you and I this time, so hopefully for Nevada's sake, they don't run it back. Because
I'm just saying, at the end of the day, both of these teams are going to come out hot and heavy. They are going to have their hooks, their buster arms. They're going to have their two-handed swords and shields, and they are going to try to smash their way through the opposition. Again, I do take a monumental amount back what I said about game number 1. I feel like UNR could have saved themselves a game. That is exactly what I am talking about. Fighting yourself back from adversity, whether it's here in the game, mentally, personally, because again, that's the one I struggle with, or as a team. If you throw away a game, it doesn't feel good. And you need to believe in yourself, and that is what happened in game 2 and 3. They just needed a couple thousand gold differential to believe in that.
Well, we'll see how things go on Saturday. That's going to do it for us here. As we mentioned, Saturday, 7 o'clock, the Mountain West Fall Invitational Grand Finals. Boise State and Nevada. The Broncos need 1 series. The Wolfpack need 2. Both teams, though, have punched their ticket to the next round of the Invitational, as the top 2 teams from every conference did that, and Nevada did that with that Game 3 victory. But that's all Chizu and Fish have. If you're interested in some Rocket League action, it's coming up tomorrow, so make sure you stay tuned on the Boise State stream. But for now, we will wish you a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow, or we'll see you Saturday for some League of Legends.